would be very upset if I told the stream to go live and it said no. It would be very awkward if it did that. But it wouldn't do that. The stream would just turn on when I tell it to, like it just did. So, yeah.
Damn.
Obviously. The stream's not Skynet.
Yeah, true.
Not yet.
It's not Skynet, it's not HAL, it's not any of the robots, okay? It's not that
It's not
sophisticated.
Mega
It
Man
is
X,
GLaDOS,
not Adam
actually.
either.
It's GLaDOS? Okay.
Oh,
Okay, post that. Post that. Post that link. You guys are about to get pinged in 3, 2, ping. Boom. Wow. Amazing.
shit, I got pinged before you and say what the hell.
I've been shot.
Yeah. I will say, I will admit, okay? Alright. I will admit, I kind of cheated with the thumbnail for this week. I cheated with the
Oh,
thumbnail for
boy.
this
I
week.
can't believe you fucking
I
did
kind of
this.
cheated because I looked at the final official volumes cover art and I was like, there's supposed to be like Sailor Moon, Chibi Usa, and Chibi Chibi, but they're like, I can't get all of them together, and it just looks like it's a cover of Sailor Moon and Chibi Usa, and then just a third character that you can't see. And even that's like super zoomed in and awkwardly pixely. So instead I brought out the Eternal Moon edition, which we did not read, and I took the cover of that one.
I can't believe you cheat.
I know. It's only happened one other
They'll try
time.
you at the Hague for this.
It's only happened one other time with Umineko, where we did some other covers instead. But that one is not really cheating. It was taking like different art than the cover art for the volume. So it works because it was from the volumes for the few times that we did it. So
Whatever helps you sleep at night, man.
well, Pink Soda, if you're trying to claim the redeems, hello. First of all, hello, Pink Soda. But also, if you're trying to claim the sound redeems like that one, they're not going to work right now because I don't have them on for book club. But you are the first. You claimed the first. You are the first today. Congrats. But no, sound redeems do not work. Eventually, I will find an easy way, a button somewhere, to press it, to turn off all of the sound alerts redeems, that I can also just press to turn back on. I do not have that set up yet. So for now, you'll just get your points refunded. Manually by me. So there you go. Okay, we got people here. Who are we missing? Coda's gonna be here, right, guys? Coda's on the way, right? We gotta ping Coda.
Do you think code again?
You gotta ping Coda. Right? Coda finished the series.
I believe in her. She did it for Usagi.
I got 2 Ijimas in a row. Damn.
We had a weird with the Hajime likes when I posted about New Game, it like looked like Hajime liked it instantly and then it went away. And then later on Iron liked it too, and then it told me only one person liked it. And then when I hovered over it said Iron and Hajime liked it. And I was like, what? And now it looks like it's all fixed, but I don't know. It was like Hajime liked it and then unliked it. And I was like, I didn't even know she could do that. I didn't know that was possible.
She's a very
Didn't want to look
picky
biased.
bot.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Didn't
Yeah.
want to look biased because it's a new game. Yeah, that's true.
Ijima in the case of the Phantom React.
Good. I haven't talked to Coda in so long. Yeah, Pink Soda. Coda is not here this week. They were not able to make it one of the weeks during the Sailor Moon reading, which means they're probably behind and have not had the time to catch up on it. So Coda is
She
not
ain't
here.
reading nothing. If she's here, she's not listening.
Coda obviously listened to our VODs, though. Obviously listened to all of them in order to catch up on the discussions
Yeah.
that she's missed. You know, it doesn't even have to do the reading. It can just listen to our discussions. And, you know, it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, let me just make sure this is good. Tweeted out everything already, posted all the memes. That should be good. We are live on YouTube. YouTube is good. Twitch is good. And everything is fine. Everything is labeled proper. Okay. I think we are ready to go.
And guess what? I have
What do you
our
have?
finale time.
Oh, what do you have? Holy shit. Cracking open a
Oh, is
cold
this
one. The
drink?
Sailor Moon cold
Yep.
one. Hold on.
Yep,
Nice.
I have the Sailor Moon pomelo drink.
Let me show it to the stream real
Because I
quick.
got it. Yeah, the picture I sent earlier.
Yeah.
Because I got it, and I was like, you know what? I need to save this. I need to save this.
Hope it's good.
Honestly, we all should have gotten one.
Chap, I don't think they have them in Canada.
It's pretty mild. I was expecting something stronger, but I'm not hating it.
I think you're a hater.
It's pomelo flavor. I got the Usagi one because the only ones they had here were Usagi and Chibiusa, and Chibiusa's was lychee, and I don't care for lychee.
Transform.
Question: the heck's a
Hold on.
pomelo?
So pomelo is
Hey.
I learned this as well. It's kind of like a grapefruit-ish is how I heard
Oh.
it was described. And it's pretty mild though. It's like a citrusy kind of grapefruit. It tastes kind of like a off-brand Sprite a bit, but a bit more fruity.
I mean, it is Usagi.
True.
And Usagi is the villain.
Hey, spoilers.
Oh my god.
What do you mean spoilers? We've been over this several
Listen,
times.
listen, we've always known that the Moon Kingdom is evil. They just keep banishing people to planets.
Been here the
True.
whole time.
Yeah. All right.
That was my pre-show thing.
It's good. It's good. I'm gonna put it away now, though. You brought enough for the whole class, though, right? You can distribute them during the pre-show introductions and all that. And
Hey,
then
you come to Canada, right?
we can all describe the flavor we're drinking for our intros and everything. Yeah, that'd be
Look at a different flavor, it'll be cool.
every character different
Yeah, you
flavor.
guys
Yeah.
didn't get yours?
Well, I maybe it just got lost in the mail. I was supposed to get a GameCube in today. I haven't gotten that, so maybe they got the drink on my GameCube, and so both are now gone now. It might have happened.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate. Anyways, let's begin. Welcome everybody to another exciting week of the Anime Book Club here on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. All at the same time, we're here to finish our discussions of the Sailor Moon manga. We are now done with Sailor Moon. But before we get into our discussions on the final volumes, let's introduce our guests for this week. Starting in alphabetical order as usual, Aztec. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Aztec. I'm reading the manga and moderately sick. All I
I know
have to
what that
recommend this book is all I have to recommend this week is like a normal book. Read the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson.
Stormlight Archives. Okay.
I think I've read the first one of those.
What's it about?
Sounds familiar.
That is a very hard thing to describe in less than 30 seconds.
Okay, well, what is the general genre? Is it like fantasy?
Fantasy, yeah.
Okay.
They're long books. The first one's like 1,000 pages.
Okay. All right. Well.
Maybe I didn't read it.
Oh, damn. Well, go check that out if you are interested in that. Next up, Arimia. Sailor Arimia. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Arimia. I like shonen shit. So I guess this week I have to actually recommend a shonen. I mean, I don't have to, but it's been a while, I gotta
You can
get back
keep
to
the
my
meme going.
roots. Yeah, I've actually been reading the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale manga.
Ooh.
I've owned the entire series for like years now. It's only 9 volumes for Zale. And a few days ago, I was walking past my bookshelf and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick that up. So I'm almost done with it now. And the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Mangas is after the original one, they're all by different authors and artists. And also they're completely different from the anime. They're also very truncated. So they're unique experiences from the anime. Yeah. It's a nice little departure from Zale, which is my second favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. So
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. Go check that out if you are interested in that. Next up, Sailor Galaxy, who I think was pretty much our villain this week. Sailor Galaxy, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I did that on purpose, probably.
Okay.
Good for you.
By an accident.
The whole time.
Finally, feminism. Yeah, hi. I'm Marianne or Anne, whichever you prefer. My recommendation this week is going to be a visual novel I played called A Year of Springs. It's very sweet.
A Year of Springs. All right. Thank you so much for that. Go check that out if you are interested. Next up, Sailor Shino. Introduce yourself.
Yay, I'm Shino. My recommendation this week is a manga called Yoruto Umi by Gomoto. It's a very nice, pretty, introspective Yuri manga that's complete, but it's only 3 volumes long, so can't really put it up for vote for the next series, but I recommend it.
Yeah, well, whenever we do a round of shorts mangas, definitely keep that in mind. But if you are listening to this and you're interested in reading that, go check that out. Next up, Shadowman V4. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shell. The thing I recommend is Pikmin. It's very depressing, but it's a 10 out of 10 game.
This is the game you...
How's it depressing? It's Pikmin.
Well, this is when I asked for drowning sound effects, I was told to check out the Pikmin drowning sound videos.
Oh.
Apparently.
Well, you see, the first Pikmin's depressing because it's a timed game, and then you run out and you have to restart.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, when I said the games would take like 10 hours, I mean that literally.
Oh, all right. Well, sweet. All right, go check that out if you are interested. What is the original Pikmin on? What console?
GameCube and Wii.
The GameCube and Wii. Oh boy, I'm about to have a GameCube. I
called
can get it. What? We don't do that here. We purchase real hardware over here and real manga books. All of us. I don't know what you're.
You can just buy the Switch too. It's got GameCube emulation.
Oh, there you
Not
go.
that game.
Oh.
Probably ever, but.
Oh well. All right. Well, go check out.
Everything but that.
Go check out Pikmin if you're interested. And last but not least, Tuxedo Borg, aka me, aka Wolfborg, aka the best anime book club host that you've ever known, if you've only watched this one at least. I am going to probably recommend... I don't know if I'd fully recommend this, but I seem to recommend it at a glance. And because I heard about it through a new article that I put up on the Jotaku website about Leviathan, which was a trilogy of young adult alternate World War I steampunk fiction books from Scott Westerfeld from like I think it was from like 2008 or something like that. They were like pretty old books. But they have an anime adaptation coming out soon by Studio Orange. And so I went to a press conference at ANYC last year, and they talked about it in the interviews. And their process for it seemed pretty interesting, and the concept seemed interesting. I bought the book already on my Kindle, and I read it a little bit, and it seems pretty cool so far. I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know if I'd fully recommend, but it seems pretty neat so far, so go check that out if you're interested. And the upcoming anime as well, I guess. And that's all we got for introductions. Now, let's begin our discussion of Sailor Moon, the finale, the final arc, the Stars arc. 2 volumes to cover the finale. And honestly, I was kind of like enjoying it more than the last arcs. In ways. How do I word this? It seemed like it was more focused on its theme to wrap it up in a nice way, which I kind of enjoyed. How do we go about this? Let's start with like initial impressions. How did we feel about the Stars arc? Is there anything in general we want to point out in particular about our feelings about it before we dive into the meat and potato details?
It's definitely the most confused I've been during any arc.
There was a lot of lore dumping in many cases, but I kind of ignored it after a while. The one thing I noticed... Well, the one thing I noticed that was annoying to me for a bit is that everybody who was introduced, I got to cut out like half the text they were trying to tell me for who they are because they were just repeating their name and then the planet they're from, and they were always the same. And I was like, oh, all right. So their background, I could pretty much cut it in half for most of these people because they're just repeating things that other people have said. I'm from this galaxy. I'm this sailor. I have this planet, which is also the same name. And we're from this place. And also I'm dead already. A lot of dying in these last 2 volumes very quickly.
Yeah, this shit rules.
This is Naoko Takeuchi said,
Don't stop coming.
Naoko Takeuchi said, oh, I can finally end my series? Let's fucking go. This character dies, you die, you die. Mamoru was dead from the fucking beginning, because why not? Like, oh my god, Jesus. But, yeah, I did remember the lore dumps with the new people being annoying, but I also was fine with it because we were getting into their stuff a lot faster than the other arcs, where the other arcs was like, we have a bunch of mini big bad. We have the one big bad that we know about. Here it's Galaxia. But we have the big bad and a bigger bad behind them. But we have the main villain, and then they have like henchmen that they're sending out to do things. But this time the henchmen are just themselves. They don't have like some superior mini henchmen guiding them. So we don't have to deal with that layer of it. And also, most of them did not try to pretend to be a part of society before they attacked 5 minutes later. So we didn't have to deal with a lot of that either. There was only like one case where it happened, and it was like Nyanko, who was like, I'm a transfer student here. Anyways.
No. You forget their nickname, chap. You forgot about their nickname.
What was their nickname? I remember Nyanko.
Nyan.
Nyan. Oh yeah, because yeah, it's cat sounds or whatever, yeah. So
I can't believe it. Nyan's in this manga. They didn't tell us.
True. That's why Andy hasn't been here in book club. They've been too busy. They've been in the Sailor Moon manga. Yeah. I wrote down the names because there was a lot of new names introduced in a very short span of time. I wrote down all the names, some of which we've already memed on in the chat. We have the new big bad is named Sailor Galaxia, who comes from the
It is I.
the universe Galactica, or the galaxy Galactica, and specifically they have their evil empire called the Shadow Galactica. Can you notice a theme with the name there? I don't know if you've noticed the theme with the name Galaxia, Galactica, Shadow Galactica, galaxies.
No, sorry, what is it?
I know it's hard to figure out, but we'll send you a chart. It'll explain it. Don't worry about that.
Oh, thanks. That'd be a huge help.
Yeah,
Gattaca. It's a good movie about twins.
it is. It is a good movie. I've seen it. It's pretty good. We have, so our big bad is Galaxia. I mean, they have a bigger bad behind them who's Chaos, who we find out about later. Galaxia has their main minions appear to be called the, let me see if I pronounce this right, the Amima Mates, who are like named after metals and animals of some kind. We had Iron Mouse, who we immediately were like, "Whoa, is that the Iron Mouse, the VTuber? Oh my god, there they are."
Oh, that's why I didn't get it.
That's why you guys were doing that.
I understand now.
Yeah, it's a big VTuber. So you had Sailor Iron Mouse. These are all sailors, by the way. We'll get into that. Sailor Iron Mouse, Sailor Aluminum Siren, from the planet Mermaid, which I was getting confused at first because they translated it, they wrote it down in our version as Seirin or something like that. And I was like, is it supposed to be Siren? And then they were like, yeah, she's from the Mermaid planet. So I'm like, oh, so it is Siren. Okay, all right, I understand. So Aluminum Siren, Lead Crow, who had showed up and like gave more backstory to Phobos and Deimos. I didn't expect that.
You're saying a bunch of names, and I'm just like, yeah, that probably happened.
Those other characters, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
It
so
was very quick.
Iron Mouse and Aluminum Siren had like pretty much no role. They showed up, did their thing, disappeared. Lead Crow and Tin Nyanko like they tried to do a little bit more with them, which was a little confusing why we had the first two just kind of disappear. But the other ones, they showed up and tried to give like backstory to the other characters that are part of our crew. Like Lead Crow showed up and was like, yeah, Phobos and Deimos, you're from my planet. We grew up together, or like I saw you train, or I trained you. I forget what it was, but it was like they basically knew each other, And now they're looking at Lead Crow, who is apparently betraying their planet. Well, it's a little more complicated than that, but now they're fighting as their like semi-human forms. They look more like fairy crows or whatever, but they're fighting as their forms. Lead Crow's design I thought looked cool. And then Tin Nyanko just showed up as a transfer student with like these like long-looking braids and then just this cat aesthetic going on, doing three mouth the whole time. Weirdly trying to be friendly with Usagi, immediately knowing Usagi's name, and Usagi's just not thinking that's weird at all. Bit concerning, but whatever. And eventually they had somebody called Heavy Metal Papillon just show up for a funeral segment or graveyard segment or whatever. It was a interesting sequence of events which we've screenshotted, and we'll talk about that. We also have new allies. Well, it did the meme again where we had new allies that were clearly going to be on our side, but the whole time they were just like, I don't know if they're really our allies. They might be bad guys. We can't trust them, even though they clearly saved their life several times. But they still couldn't trust them. And this is the Sailor Starlights, aka the Three Lights Idol Group. Presented as a boys' idol group who goes into the school as a bunch of three new male students. But they are also Sailor Guardians, who they are specifically the Starlights, who are from where our, like, how do I, like, ally faction is from. It's from, like, the Kinmoku other galaxy thing that got destroyed. Basically, their galaxy got destroyed, but they're like sailor soldiers from that galaxy. And they came here and were looking for their princess or Usagi or something. They seem to have known what was going on and were trying to like...
They were looking for their princess who was in the like incense thing
right
that Chibi had.
Okay. Oh yes, Chibi. How could I forget? You remember...
Everyone's favorite Pokemon.
We had Chibiusa. Chibiusa went home, okay? Chibiusa wasn't here for this arc until, like, towards the end. But instead, we had Chibiusa at home. The Chibiusa at home being Chibi.
Chibiusa too.
Who, I will point out, Usagi loves... Usagi absolutely despised Chibiusa the entire time. Chibi shows up, doesn't say nothing, and Usagi's like, "Here's my daughter. She must be my daughter. I have to treat her with the utmost respect and care." It's like, girl, I know this is a character development. You are just being this way.
Look, Usagi's accepting of a lot of stuff in this arc.
Listen,
like, your actual daughter, whenever she shows up, you're just like, ugh, my rival.
I'm telling you, Usagi's the villain.
True.
There's too many damn characters this time. I could not. It wasn't that I couldn't keep track of them. It's that I did not care to keep track of them.
Yeah, you really didn't.
I didn't care that there was some new star sailors. Yeah. I didn't care that there's this princess that they're looking for. I didn't care about all these new villains because you know that they're just immediately gonna die or just be gone.
Yep, this mark.
Because that's what happens.
Yeah, this arc makes it very apparent that most of the new characters you meet, or like most characters, are just dying pretty quickly, anyways. Like we didn't really get any real time to develop any of our sailor characters again, because
they didn't last very long either.
They lasted like what, 2 chapters, 3 chapters, and then they were all taken away. They didn't last long before the new big bad, who apparently could just instantly capture these sailors, just captures them, and they're just their bodies are gone, destroyed, and they just have their sailor crystals. And they're not like fully dead, it's just that their bodies are dead, but that's essentially to us mere mortals, it's basically the same thing. So it's a whole thing. And yeah, they make it pretty apparent that we're this group, the Galaxia group's not fucking around. These guys are dying immediately, but then even the Galaxia group can die immediately. They specifically have a nice little mechanism to make any of these characters die instantly. They all wear a bracelet to enslave them to Galaxia, which these characters are all already dead anyways, but Galaxia is like using the bracelet to like keep their bodies in like some revived like ash form that's
It's
like
soul
looks like a
gems.
body. Yeah, like they're not.
It's just Madoka Magica.
Yeah,
Madoka Magica just completely lifted every aspect of this for soul gems.
Yeah, so like they're being controlled by it, and some of them are given the promise of, you know, once Galaxia takes over all the galaxy and has the silver moon crystal or whatever, they'll get their own spot in the universe that they get to rule or whatever. Obviously, they're all being used. Galaxia doesn't really give a shit, but also most of these people are already dead anyways. They're just either toying with them and or just using their dead bodies as like slaves to like go do her bidding in this kind of thing, and. The bracelet, she could just make it go off of them at any time, and if it is, they just die. They just turn to dust and die instantly. So it's very easy to get rid of any of these new characters instantly. So it's not
Disposable.
It's not that big of a deal. I was getting hurt in my head a little bit when Kinmoku showed up, or not Kinmoku. Princess Kakyu showed up, who's from Kinmoku. Again, I had to write these down because I was losing track because they kept dying instantly. But she showed up, and it wasn't just the fact that I was getting lore dumped, but also the translator was not helping when they kept doing massive paragraph-long translator notes for the names, which didn't... You would think it would help, but it didn't really for how they were describing it. I don't remember... whatever they were trying to say was the reference to the name Kakyu or Kinmoku, but I remember there was like paragraphs of it in the middle of interrupting their introduction
There was
to me.
so much explanation for those names.
And yeah, and I'm just like, okay, I understand. I can look up the wiki for the Japanese name for these things if I actually cared. I don't think I need the whole paragraph here.
That's not too many though.
You know, I'm just like,
It's like we can't do our little pun thing that we normally do where we slice it down into one thing. This is like an entire goddamn phrase in a word.
uh-huh. And it's like, yeah. I mean, it's just names. I don't really need the whole lore dump about the name here, unless it's like a joke pun mistaken, which they did once with one of the characters saying Chibi Choco or Choro or something instead of Chibi Chibi.
Chibikoro, I think.
Chibikoro. Which they then just immediately correct or whatever. Like that was the one time where I'm like, okay, that's acceptable, but I don't need this paragraph long explanation for all the different names. I could look that up if I want to. The one thing I did think was neat though, when I was writing the names, I realized that the three lights idol group people, their actual names, like Seiya, Taiki, Yaten, they all have the same last name of Ko, which is light, which I thought was neat, but I don't think that was a note anywhere in the translation, which I thought was funny. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They're the three lights, but yeah. So
Like Yagami.
yeah, I know. And those two, I mean, those three turn out to be the Starlights. We had Starfighter, Star Maker, and Star Healer, which had one of them had a very interesting move. They all said their like attacks they were doing, and one of them was like Gentle Uterus.
Gentle Uterus.
And I'm like, and okay, maybe I don't know if that was supposed to be Sailor, Star Healer, or Maker, but it was an interesting choice to put that in there. I understand. They're probably...
that was it didn't take me by surprise in the manga, but watching the anime for the first time, that was definitely a sucker punch to hear.
They just did not change that, huh?
They just did not? Wow. Interesting choices.
And we're entirely certain that's not some reference to a space thing we don't know about.
I did try looking it up. I didn't find anything. I'm also very much not infallible.
I had assumed it had something to do with either, I don't remember who did it, either Star Maker or Star Healer did it, but I had just assumed it was related to like the whole rebirth theme that we have going.
Maker, I believe.
Yeah, so I just assumed it was like either because it's the Maker or the theme of birth that we have going on, or you know the stars being born and things like that. I didn't know if it was supposed to be symbolic of that, but interesting word choice if that is what we're going for. Listen, they added the word gentle, so it's
See, that's the thing that got me, because like I saw Gentle Uterus and my first thought was like, wait, so what would a rough uterus be?
Oh,
I think
no.
it's Gentle Star Uterus.
Oh god. So interesting attack thrown out there. That was like a jump scare when I read that. But I don't think it came up again. So I was like, okay, whatever. Anyways, our idol boys were just the new mention at first. And I'm like, okay, are these three going to be the new big bad? They were not the new big bad. They were the new mystery character that the group confuses as the big bad before they are immediately saved by them several times, and yet they're still confused whether or not they're the big bad. Usagi and Mamoru open up this final arc, the Stars arc, with Mamoru going over to America. He says, I'm going to go to America, study abroad at Harvard. So we had a Massachusetts mention this week. I pogged when I saw it. So Usagi was like, I wonder what time it is in Massachusetts. oh, they said the state. So Mamoru was supposed to go over to America, and I think like right before they were about to go, the not Galaxia, Iron Mouse shows up and just kind of yoinks him, and then Usagi passes out, and then and then wakes up being like, oh yeah, he went to America. I remember he went to America. Like she just completely forgot that all happened.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I swear I'm not going to keep doing this the whole time.
Yeah, go on.
But in the anime, the way that happens is he like actually properly boards the plane and gets taken off of the plane. So it does just kind of feel like he dies in a fucking plane crash.
What the fuck? Jesus.
She's like abducting like a bunch of people, not just the one person. So the implication is like she's abducted this entire plane full of people.
Oh my god.
Wait, hold on.
It's
Sailor,
wild.
when did the anime come out again?
Oh.
Before 2001.
Oh, I understand.
See,
Yeah.
I didn't realize he'd been like supposed to have been killed in that scene until the next person got vaporized.
Yeah, I was
I was like, oh, that looks familiar.
Yeah, I
just assumed it was like some fancy way to show that he got abducted.
Yeah, that's what I thought initially too.
Yes, kind of.
But then they straight up clarified to us later, no, we killed their body. We still have their Sailor Crystal, which means they're not effectively dead, but we basically killed their current mortal existence. So they're going to have to be reborn if you want to see them again.
Immortal soul thing is drawing some uncomfortable parallels, but
so Galaxia's goal is, I mean, as with most of the big bads, get the Silver Moon Crystal so that we can be the big bad and we can rule everything. Specifically, she's been going around to several galaxies now at this point, and everywhere she goes, everything's destroyed. Everything's killed. Everything becomes one of her workers, or they're killed. And she basically has been capturing a whole bunch of the power of the Sailor soldiers from a bunch of different galaxies and wiping out a whole bunch of planets and stuff like that. And
all right. Stop.
Yep.
All one galaxy, different solar systems. I don't know why they kept mentioning that they're from the Milky Way galaxy. Everybody here was. It's not special.
Okay.
That's just where we are.
Wait, what was your clarification again? Just so I understand what you're trying to clarify here.
All of this is happening in one galaxy. They're from different solar or star systems.
Okay. Yes, I understand. Yes, they're from different solar systems or different, different star systems, and we're at the solar system. Yes,
and like when it got revealed where Galaxia was hiding, she's like, "Oh, she's in the Milky Way galaxy." It's like, yeah, everybody is. That doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah, they specifically said like Sagittarius Zero or star or something. Baguetti's in YouTube chat saying, "Not me, I am not from the Milky Way." Well, Baguetti's built different. We all know this, so.
Baguetti was the alien the whole time already. You made fun
Bread
of
is
me.
not from Earth. Yeah, we've all known.
Bread's
this.
not from Earth? Oh, interesting. I did watch a video where somebody sent garlic bread into space, so I think that is basically the same thing.
Why?
For experiment, they did a camera pointing at it the whole time. It might have been a Tom Scott video, so and then they tasted it after it came down. So.
Remember, as long as you record the results, it's science.
That's true. That's true.
Science.
So this is science.
Basically, yeah.
Social science.
Yeah,
Makes
so
sense.
so going around the Milky Way, eradicating all the star systems, that's basically science. And Galaxia is kind of doing their thing, doing that. How do we feel about Galaxia in terms of design and motivation and like them as a character? I was excited for a while for us to have the next big bad not immediately try to fuck Mamoru or get with Mamoru, and then and then she brainwashed him and just had him there and just started like stepping on him and shit. I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Soon this whole galaxy and this man will be mine. It's like, oh, come on. This entire
Exactly this one
galaxy.
man.
Surely there's someone better than Mom. Like he's a great dad, but surely.
She's been going
There's
around.
Haruka.
She's been
That's Haruka.
She's been going around calling everyone in the galaxy trash, and yet Mamoru. It's interesting, very interesting.
Look, you understand, Ari. She also likes unreliable men.
Base. Listen,
Haruka's way too reliable. That's the problem.
all right, there
She's
you
too
go.
perfect.
There you go. Listen, Mamoru just wanted to go to Harvard. Why can't he just go to Harvard?
Yeah,
You
they
just-
go to Space Harvard.
Just let him come to Massachusetts, okay? I'll hang out with him.
No, plane crash.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Who might argue? So Chibi Chibi, meanwhile. Actually, wait, hold on. Let me pause for a second, because I asked about opinions on Sailor Galaxia, and then I forgot to actually wait for the opinions. Do we have anything that we wanted to say about Sailor Galaxia herself, design-wise and or motivation-wise or whatever?
Sailor Moon, Sailor Galaxia, Yuri. Thank you for coming to my class.
True,
I'm-
true.
I'm upset. I
It's
do not
even
like
more
her...
in the anime.
Oh
Or-
no.
oh.
I don't like her sailor outfit, the one that's like all the like the hard edges, the weird little. I don't know how to describe it. I don't like that compared to her like normal human self, where she's got the long curly hair. Because
Right.
I thought that the panels that show her like that, one, they look like two different characters. But two, so it kept confusing me. But two, the shots of her like that looked so much better when contrasted with Usagi. So I thought having her with that longer hair, all curly, would have been a much more interesting design composition for when they're actually fighting and against each other
Right.
than what we got.
Right.
Her sailor outfit gave me like Cleopatra vibes.
That's what I was thinking. Which I thought that, and then I was like, didn't we just have a pharaoh-based character or something, or pharaoh-named character?
Pharaoh 90.
Yeah.
Pharaoh quotations. Because
Pharaoh
they're
90 in the Infinity Arc.
Yes. Yeah.
This one I just reposted in the club chat. Like this panel, I love.
Ooh,
You got
yes.
you got her with her hair down. You got Sailor Moon. She's dragging her down. I think it would have been a lot cooler visually if they had stuck to that design rather than the. I don't even know how to describe it. Shapes.
I'm putting it on the screen now.
It's all just shapes.
There you
Yeah.
go.
apes.
This form, and then do we have a form of her Egyptian form? I guess. Let me see here.
It all comes back to Yu-Gi-Oh.
True.
Pretty much.
And that's why you should vote Yu-Gi-Oh for the next book club.
No, but I isn't back yet.
Wait, this is just Sailor Galaxia from the anime. I need the manga. Let me see. When I do the search, here we go.
All right, can't we wait like one more month?
Let me pull this up here. Boom. These are basically the two different forms that we have for Galaxia. Galaxia. What was that one panel you posted? About her fucking the name. Let me see here.
Oh yeah, it's
No.
the first one I posted today.
First
Oh,
one I
yeah.
Of course.
posted.
Our ability to make use of that great power, to make use of anything, comes from our queen, the queen of the galaxy, Our Lady Galaxia, holder of the sapphire crystal. It's like, okay, we got it. I think her name is Galaxia.
I think I remember.
It's just
So,
nice
Ari-
to be appreciated, you know?
I think I remember them mentioning the sapphire crystal, and I'm like, oh, that's the new MacGuffin. And then like it's like, no, I already have it, and this is gonna play no part in this. And I'm like, oh, all right. She's like, yeah, I just want the silver moon crystal, and then I can do everything else. Oh, okay. Well,
Speaking of MacGuffins,
yep.
they also mentioned the Cosmos Crypt. Fuck. I can't speak today.
The
There's a lot of crystals mentioned.
That's
yes.
true. The Cosmos thing. Yes.
Crystal, and it's also the Lambda Delta power. So there's your Umineko reference.
There you go.
Just play it in.
True. Yeah. None of those seem to have really mattered because it seemed like in the end the real thing was the cauldron, the star birthing cauldron. I forget if it had like an official name. There's like a cauldron in the Sagittarius thing, and this is
Birthplace of the universe.
yeah, basically where all the stars are born and like everything is made from is essentially this thing. And our
I think it
actual
was just Galaxy Cauldron.
yeah, it might have just been Galaxy Cauldron. And essentially our actual big bad lives within the cauldron, who is named Chaos. And they even refer to themselves as Sailor Chaos at some point. Because everybody's a sailor now. I don't know if we went into this in detail, but almost all the new characters are a sailor of some kind.
A lot of sailors.
Literally everyone is a sailor except Mamoru at this point. And even he has technically a sailor crystal, so
yeah, it's...
yeah.
He is
Yeah.
also a sailor.
So it like, and I can accept it in a way because it's like, okay, there's a lot more to the galaxy than just the planets that we know of. There's all the other stars. I just didn't realize stars also counted as sailors. But then again, we also have Usagi, who's from the moon. So I guess it doesn't have to be a planet. And
Well,
Most of asteroids.
yeah,
like that extension makes total sense to me. Like if you're going to extend it beyond our planets and you don't want to include like the way far out there planets outside of our solar system, then yeah, throw in like the stars or something. But then you get to like Iron Mouse and what, Nianco or something?
Ari.
I think those are the only... I think many of those characters were the only ones that weren't from a planet that was the same as their name in some cases. Like I think the siren came from the planet Mermaid. Nyanko came from the planet Mao, who's the same planet that all our cat characters are from. Which is why they're just also cat themed, I guess. Like all those characters I think are the only ones that were named differently than the planet they came from. Everybody else, there was a whole page at some point that just restated everybody's name and the planet that they're from, which is the exact same as their name. So I kept getting annoyed with that because I'm like, I get it. We should understand that we get it by now. We don't have to repeat this for everybody. We would only need to repeat it for characters where that's not the case. Which there are like 5. So I don't know.
Here's my question now. Though.
Yes.
How the hell did the crows get to Earth?
That's a question for another.
They flew for a really long
Yeah.
time.
I mean the now
The galaxy has incredible public transit.
yeah. You know,
I refuse to believe that's true with Usagi in charge.
Another one of Usagi's sins, just slot right in, very subtly.
we had.
It's a commentary.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think Usagi as a mom in the future too, because I'm just like, Chibiu says like something is wrong. Something is wrong. I can tell something is wrong. And instead of trying to tell her mother something is wrong, she's like trying to like sneak away instead. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's not a great sign.
I think Usagi's going to get in the way.
Like,
Yeah.
like she knows something's wrong. It doesn't immediately bring up to her mom, who's like supposed to be the queen of like everything. And
basically the
Well, her mom's
goddess
really
of
busy, you
everything.
see.
Her mom's just like, all right, honey, it's time to go to bed. Okay. And she's
Hear
worried
that
about
your
like,
father is dying.
yeah.
This cat just disappeared.
Which brings us back to a thing that we were worried about before. We were like, time travel is a thing we've introduced to this series. I wonder if there's any implications to the
It doesn't
future.
make sense.
They've only like half brought that in for this ending bit, where they're like, oh, these characters feel like they're sick and or dying through the events of the past. But like
That's not how that works.
Usagi in the future is like not concerned about it. Largely not concerned about it. I think until like a little later, where
Well, she's concerned once it gets brought to her attention.
Yeah, but
which it does feel very Usagi.
Yeah. So instead of Chibi Usa being a part of our crew until she's not there until later. Instead we have Chibi, who is a whole new thing. We had Chibi Usa. This is Chibi Usa, but more baby. Does not say anything. Just will parrot back words that she hears, except when she doesn't, and she says full out things, and we just ignore the fact that she's saying full things. I noticed that a couple times, and I was getting confused. I was like, wait, she's speaking normal here. Are we not going to acknowledge that? But happened a few times before we actually acknowledged it.
Hold on. You think Usagi would notice?
That's true. This is Usagi we're talking about. I think Usagi was literally having a full-on conversation with Chibi at one point, and then she was like, maybe if you told me anything, I'd be able to understand you. like, wait a minute, Usagi, wait. wait. Yeah, Chibi just kind of shows up. I think the mom immediately assumed that was Chibi Usa, and I had also assumed it was Chibi Usa at first, before it was explained, wait a minute, you're not Chibi Usa. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, her hair bun things are different shaped. I think hers were like hearts or something instead. I forget. It was like a very slight difference. I'm like, but this just looks like Chibi Usa, but like smaller.
Yeah, I figured it was like some variation of Chibi Usa.
Which I will say, when I was setting up the thumbnails for this ahead of time, which again, I did not end up using this thumbnail for tonight's episode, but the original cover of one of the final volumes is Usagi, Chibi Usa, and Chibi all together on the cover. And
you looked at that,
before,
and you're very confused.
Before the context of these last volumes, I'm like, why are there two Chibi Usas? Is it time travel shenanigans?
They multiplied Jeff.
And I didn't realize they're supposed to be two different characters. I didn't realize. But they are. So, yeah, Chibi not saying things brings an incense thing, which apparently holds the princess of the galaxy that the starlights came from. Who's
the genie in a lamp? Don't ask questions.
Yeah, it also seemed like as soon as we opened up the incense thing in the room, it immediately made Usagi pass out. So I was like, what the fuck is happening?
That's the good incense, all right? That's how you know it's good.
I think there was a dream sequence associated with it, but I just kept thinking like, oh no, is this Chibi girl the enemy? We've just made Usagi pass out. What's going on here?
Happy, hungry, sleepy. Just one of the side effects.
That's true. I think, Usagi said one of her favorite things is to sleep, right? So I guess it makes sense.
This is true.
So
She's also a gamer, I think. We haven't mentioned that.
We had the big reveal about who Chibi actually is later. For a while, we were wondering, is she also Usagi's future daughter? Is she the sister of Chibi Usa? Is she the granddaughter of Usagi? Meaning, is she Chibi Usa's daughter? Turns out the answer is she is future Usagi, I think. Was that what the answer was? I thought that was what it was implied.
I think.
I thought it was implied this is Usagi from an alternate timeline where she did not she ran away from chaos and thus watched her galaxy just face war and destruction forever until she decided to appear here in this timeline to try to guide herself to make the correct choice towards the end about what she should do. That was my understanding of what she is supposed to be. She also just flat out says, I am known as Sailor Cosmos, which I guess is supposed to be like a ultimate form of Sailor Moon. And
another ultimate had to several.
This is the Super Double Omega Ultimate Sailor Moon.
Yes.
I didn't know if the implication was she had like the combined powers of like all the Sailor soldiers or something like that, but apparently it didn't.
This is a what
Yeah.
the fuck is it from Pokemon Dynamax?
Dynamax.
Mega
Oh, okay.
Evolution?
Thinking of.
Megalution. Okay.
There's like one different form for one different like ultra evolution form for every region when they started doing that because they didn't
Yeah.
want to reuse any.
For
I
some
see.
reason.
I see. And so
It turns out every timeline Sailor Moon is in has a different gimmick ultimate form.
Yeah, this is Alolan Usagi.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I was just like, okay, so this is another Sailor Moon from another timeline. I was also hoping that she would like help with the fights.
Generally, too much.
She seemed to want to just guide Usagi to make the correct choice in the end, as opposed to just helping with all the fights ahead of time. I don't know if that was supposed to imply she'd tried this before, and that she thought that this was the correct solution. But also, that's my time travel fiction enjoyer brain trying to make sense of this. The reality, as we all know, is Naoko Takeuchi uses... Naoko Takeuchi does not really care for time travel other than excuses for different alternate characters to appear, essentially. We don't really care about the actual logic with the time travel stuff. The only extension that we've had so far is the implication that the future characters can be dying from the result of this. But then we introduce an alternate timeline Sailor Moon. So I don't know.
There are two different methods of time travel.
And we've decided on both of them. We've decided on both of them here. I don't know. Listen, it's fine.
Listen, she created Sailor Moon. She can have her cake and eat it too.
Listen, again, Naoko Takeuchi,
She's got the
You
money for it.
create Sailor Moon.
she knows how to draw all these characters, so I can't blame her. I really love the fucking art that we had for a lot of the action scenes this time. I think you were posting about them too, Ari, all the really cool shots that are here for this stuff. And it's very nice seeing
This
the
is
art.
maybe the best that the art has been in an already like stunning visually series.
Yep. Which is great for, the finale arc or whatever. And it's I think it ended very powerfully when it did end with all the shots that was happening. The wedding shots that were happening between Usagi and Mamoru were like very, very cute and it's like cute. Amazing. I think the last shot is like Sailor Moon in like the wedding dress next to Sailor Moon in like her sailor uniform, and it's Mamoru saying you'll live on eternally or something. And it's like it was a very cute final shot. It was nice. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I think I really enjoyed how much more thematically focused this arc was compared to the other arcs. Because this is obviously the last arc that we had, and it's obvious that the author knew this was the last arc that they were going to be doing. It's not like some of the other arcs we've had where it feels like we're like the very first arc where she ended it assuming that was going to be the end and there was more. No, we clearly knew from the beginning this was going to be the end, because that was like pretty much the reoccurring theme was the uncertainty of the future, which from the beginning of this arc was just a thing that's been going through Usagi's head. Like Mamoru's going to America, that has me all worried about my future with him. I don't know. I think there were a couple points where she's like, I don't know how often I'm going to be able to hang out with some of the Sailor Guardians and things like that. And I think some of the other characters too, they also had moments like that, where they had some uncertainties come about. And Galaxia shows up as kind of symbolic of the eventual, how do I word this? Like, the fear of the dark possibilities of the future, I guess, and the end, the eventual end of the things that you want for your future and things like that. And the thing that we've had recurring throughout the whole series is the whole thing about rebirth and reincarnation and things like that. And here we're kind of using it with those kind of themes. as a way to parallel that with like this is all my interpretation. The parallel with a look towards one's own future, I guess, where it's like I don't know what the future could hold. I have some ideas for what I want out of the future, but there's also a lot of dark scenarios I could think of for the future. But, you know, maybe if I am unsure about how a thing goes, I could just restart something else new, and hopefully something else can be better. And I don't know if I'm wording it right, but essentially I took some notes about it in some areas where I thought it was like, oh, okay, I see where it's going with that. Like the cauldron and all the birthing of the new stars, I thought was like supposed to be like the birthing of new different ideas for what one wants in the future, and the new like iterations of life and things like that. And they had at one point mentioned the idea that the only way to stop chaos and to stop the cycle of war and things like that would be to destroy the cauldron itself, which would, in theory, make it so that we cannot be reborn anymore, or certain stars will not be able to be reborn anymore after a while, and eventually the galaxy will just disappear and die out. And I thought that was interesting at first, because I was like, oh, so that's like an kind of symbolic. I thought of like a way to be like, okay, well, if you are worried about accepting the future events that are happening to the point where you're not actually going into the future, you're just kind of letting it repeat through rebirth until you get what you want or whatever. It's just gonna be a thing until you try to just accept that sometimes bad things will happen. But good things will also happen too if you just keep trying your best. Eventually things will end. Eventually everything will end, but like in the meantime, you get to move forward with the future, and that's kind of better than just repeating a cycle over and over again. So I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. And then I think that's not what we did, which confused me. They made it sound like this is the only way we can stop it. But then we didn't destroy the cauldron. We decided instead to... Or did we destroy the cauldron? I know we didn't destroy chaos. They said chaos was not defeated, and we were reborn, but we're cool with this. Can we clarify what happened with that? What happened there?
I'm not entirely sure about all of that with Cosmos and everything and chaos.
I was trying to
I'm
understand.
still not sure if they got like reborn on Earth in present day or like in the future.
Well, at some point they were in the cauldron, and they spoke with somebody else in the cauldron, but it seemed like they were all reborn at the time. And then they seemed like they might have been reborn, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if maybe this ending bit was up to reader interpretation what happened or not, because all I knew was I couldn't understand some bits of it. I was like, maybe we won, or maybe we all went to heaven. Maybe
something happened.
All I know is Usagi and Mamoru got married in some world, okay? And I think that's cute, but I don't know if we actually survived.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I'm worried, Ari.
I very much took it as kind of a refutation of nihilism. Doesn't feel like the right word exactly, but there's this sense of the ending being the only way to end chaos and end like evil in this universe as like a cosmic force is to just end all of existence.
So it basically took the Hotaru ending. We just not reset, but like just end everything. Hotaru resets things, though.
I think that's what the implication was with regards to the idea of destroying the fountain.
Right. So
like, the best way to ensure that evil will not continue is to just eliminate people altogether. And I think the ending at the end was kind of struggling with that idea. And Usagi very much deciding that even if there may be some amount of truth to that, that's not who she wants to be. That's not how she wants to handle it, and that she wants to believe that people will do better.
Right.
So in Higurashi,
Oh no. Oh. It was all Ryukishi all along.
I finished the manga and I also finished the anime, like finally a couple of days ago.
Okay.
And the entire time
Right.
I was just like, this is the most Higurashi.
Is it true?
I am a parody of myself.
Okay, I'm trying to think where else we go from this, because I was a little confused by that, but still I enjoyed where we were going from what I understood of the themes and how it was kind of carrying on for me, at least. So for me, like I said, thematically, I really enjoyed this arc compared to the others. Lore dump wise, it was a bit much, but I didn't really need
Just
all of
tad.
that to get what I wanted out of this. And again, I did appreciate how we didn't waste time with trying to bullshit our characters into being a part of society before they immediately died. We only did that with like one character pretty much. And
Ryan once again.
yeah, and what other characters were there? There were other characters. Oh yeah, there was other Sailor Guardians. There was like two others. Lethe and
I'm not-
Nemozen? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those two who were like in like the desert rivers of Oblivion or some shit. There's like a desert world thing that they go to. When they go to try to go to the Sagittarius Zero Star thing to fight the big bad, they find them. And they're trying
Somebody
to.
has to break through like basically the river of memory and this thing that's trying to keep her from reaching them. And they are the Sailor Guardians representing the river of memory and the oblivion that it is kept in. I actually liked their little story.
Right. I'm trying to remember their story. Their story was
It's basically just them like finding initially being sent to kind of guard over Usagi and prevent her from escaping.
right.
And then one of them goes, "Hey, this is fucked up. We shouldn't do this."
Yeah. Cause I remember
We need to stop.
Nemozen being like, "Hey, how about we don't fucking kill them? They're like also guardians, so why don't we just like, you know, I don't think we should kill anybody anymore, but you know, we have the bracelets on." And then Galaxy shows up eventually. It's like, "Nah, you're useless," and they just disappear. She did this several times. I think Nyanko, for some reason, did not finish the job and then decided to go back to Galaxia, who just immediately said, "All right, you were useless," and then just got rid of her thing. This is a thing we could do several times.
Why Yanko did that though is my question. Like, why the fuck?
I don't know. Just to show us, the reader, how brutal Galaxia is, she will not forgive somebody not completing the job at all. That's why I assume that was about. Because otherwise, it was just.
I mean, if you take it as
I mean,
like an
Yanko finished the job.
in-character decision, her other option in that situation is to just try and run
Yeah.
from the thing that is consuming like planets and is planning to destroy the entire universe.
Right.
So, at least in theory, if she goes back, she is thinking there might be some way for her to like survive all of this. Obviously, she was wrong, but she didn't know that.
No, I mean like before that, because they mentioned, oh, Yanko probably could have finished us off. I'm not sure why the hell she didn't. Like they specifically mentioned that.
Oh, damn. I didn't remember that. I didn't even remember how the fight with Nyanko ended, to be honest. I remember them fighting and then
He just ups and disappears for no reason.
yeah, I guess I just didn't register that we just kind of left. I don't remember. I didn't remember that bit. I remembered them as a character because I also remembered when I was at ANYC when I was taking the photos. There was like a few cosplayers that were in that Naoko outfit, and I was like, oh, that's a interesting looking character outfit. I wonder who that character is, and we hadn't gotten to them yet. So I'm like, are they just not in the manga? And then we got to it this week, and I'm like, oh, there's Naoko, and they're gone. Okay, well, all right.
I can tell you that just proved Nyanko's the best villain.
We had our idol boys, the Starlights, who were presented to us as idol boys as first. They had a bit where we, had characters like Sailor Venus, who loves idols, was like obsessed with these characters, kept like detailed notes about knowledge of where they might be at all times, because they eventually transfer into their school for reasons of spying on them. They several times vaguely give our crew information in the form of, here is a tarot card, bye. And I'm like, but we were about to explain what's going on. Why don't you do that? And I remember one time, those three Starlights were on the roof, and they were speaking specifically to Venus and Mars. They were speaking to them. They throw a tarot card to Mars, and then immediately jump off the roof, and then you just see them talking with other boys, like, we're just doing our school thing now. I'm like, what? But we were about to just explain to them what's going down and that you're not an enemy. What's going on here? Why aren't we just explaining to these characters that what is happening now as opposed to later?
Yeah, there's no time to explain shit, okay? Yeah.
That's been a recurring issue in this manga.
It just felt like way more apparent there than I think it's ever been to me, because they just literally jumped down to continue a conversation, or act like they just started a conversation with like some other boys at the school. And I'm like, why are we putting up the disguise if the disguise was just to talk with them? What is the point of that anymore if they know who you are? I don't understand what that was about, but whatever. The other thing that stood out to me about that scene was the implication or outright saying, or it looks like it was Venus and Mars saying, yeah, we're gay, keep scrolling, for like one panel, when they're like,
of
course.
It was more than one.
I was like, well, I remember just one very powerful panel of them together with like the pose that immediately in my head I was thinking yeah, we're gay, keep scrolling kind of meme, where they're like, oh, there's one person that each of you care deeply about, isn't there? And they're like, yeah, you're right, there is. And it's like posing with them together, like shoulder to shoulder. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought they were going to be saying like Usagi, we're all devoted to Usagi, but then it's just like, it just shows both of them together. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, sweet, good for them. These girls gay. Yeah, I remember that panel sticking out, and I was like, oh, that's a nice little shot of them.
I think this is the sequence you mean.
Let me see here. Are you sending this somewhere? Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yes.
Sorry, it took a sec.
Yes, this is the scene. Well, let me pull this up for the chat here. Oh yeah, Mars doesn't even go to that school. They're in like her outfit, Venus's outfit, and then Venus is just in a sports outfit so that they can sneak in and try to spy on him.
Incognito.
Yeah, they're just like, is that bad? We don't need boys to get along. Is that bad? I was like, all right, hell yeah, good for them. But yeah, we had that scene happen, and oh yeah, so before they realized who the Starlights are, and they just saw them as the new transfer idol boys that were at the school, immediately Usagi, Venus, and Jupiter all had crushes on them. Like immediately. And then there was a joke panel where they're like, they're cool. That means they can't be the bad guys, right? Because we have crushes on them. And I'm like, what do you mean? What's happening here?
I think during the clown arc, clown arc quotations. My bad. Sorry, Ari.
Yeah. What about the clown arc?
one of them mentions, "Oh, they like plants. They can't possibly be evil."
Oh yeah, yeah. It can't possibly. You know, I mean, they're fine. Everything's fine with that. I was trying to think of what other deeds was there because it was pretty obvious. Okay, they're doing something, and I think they were the ones who picked up Usagi when she passed out from Mamoru getting stolen, and they just kind of like drove her home, and then they're like, "All right,
Yeah, they do.
all right, we're going now." And I'm like, "Oh, okay,
The client needs me.
all right." So they did that, and then eventually, they reveal. I think like one of them specifically accidentally revealed it to Usagi. I think he was singing or something, and then it just revealed his energy. And then they revealed that they were the Starfighters or Starlights. They're Starfighter, Starmaker, Star Healer. They revealed all that stuff. I liked their designs. I liked their outfits when they transform. I thought they were cool. I did remember now some of the cosplays I saw from ANYC were those characters, and I was like, oh, so that's who those guys were. Okay. I had thought when I saw them in ANYC, I thought that they were other villainous characters that were gonna come up later. And I didn't realize they were just gonna be the new allies for this arc, because the cosplays I was seeing made them look like they're like the new big bads, like idol themed big bads, but they weren't. So, and yeah, Chaos. There's nothing really to talk about. Chaos is just like I've been living inside. I'm a star that was not born. I was something from the cauldron that was not born, and therefore I exist within the cauldron, and I use the powers of things consumed within the cauldron. I basically am the big bad through use of me being here forever. And I was just, okay. Big, vague amalgamation of an evil thing, which I guess has given birth.
He's gonna banish the light and dark.
Which
do something.
Which I guess this big bad has given birth to like all of the big bads essentially. Which, all right, cool. And Galaxia for some reason this whole time was like, I'm doing all this to destroy Chaos. I know how to do it. I could beat them. And
no.
Obviously, all it did was just get the Silver Moon crystal close to Chaos, and that was it. It was not at all going to like have Chaos not try to do something to Galaxia first. And surprisingly, even though Galaxia has like killed and taken all of her friends from her, Usagi still tried to save her from being absorbed by Chaos or like killed by Chaos instantly at some point. Which
so in Higurashi,
does Chaos also have a crystal? Can it be an emerald?
Oh, I want to say that they
complete Gen 3
just for that, no.
Listen. Our naming scheme here, okay? He would have the Chaos Emerald. Yes, absolutely, absolutely would have the Chaos Emerald.
He was involved the whole time.
Sapphire
None
Crystal.
Yeah,
I mean, well, he had Sapphire Crystal. What are they gonna be? Ruby? The Chaos Ruby?
There's a silver crystal. There's a gold crystal.
Have we had a Ruby come up yet?
I
don't think so.
Yeah,
don't
you
think
imply
so.
that we could possibly remember this.
Remember,
They might have.
It's
and we
gonna,
just forgot.
It's gonna be on the quiz, okay? Name every MacGuffin. Go.
There's a quiz?
No
quiz.
There would be a quiz if we had an odd number of volumes, but we did not here, so there is no quiz.
Thank your God, that would be hell.
It'd be hell for me to make too. The fucking quiz. For
Exactly. One of them is going to be how many clowns were there?
That's gonna be an easy question.
Not enough.
Could be like three off-camera
Sorry,
clowns.
we need a numerical amount.
Actually, the amount of clowns is dictated by how many people finished the reading. That's the number of clowns. Yeah. Oh my God.
No, don't turn me into a clown. No.
Wait, does finishing the reading make you a clown, or does not finishing the reading make you a clown?
Yes.
So Coda's a clown,
Coda's
is what you're telling
Coda's
me.
also classified as a clown here. Yes.
That's so funny.
We've had a joke before. I don't remember if you were here for this joke yet, Aztec, but we've had a joke here that there's going to be a wall of shame list of people who started the reading for a series and then left like halfway through or something. So they're on the wall of shame until they finish it. We have not established this as an actual thing, but it's just a funny thing. So far,
we got Coda, Ari, and Nyan.
yeah, they're on for
And
several
Turando.
reasons. And Turando. Well, Turando's busy doing his own thing, so it's whatever. But yeah, Andy didn't finish Dorhidoro, and that's not from school or whatever. That was just because Andy didn't finish the reading one week and then just didn't, or read one of her favorite characters died, and then it didn't show up again. It was a whole thing.
And then 5 chapters later, the character that died isn't dead anymore.
That's a whole other thing. Andy doesn't know this yet. It's gonna be very funny whenever Andy does find that out.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyways, Sailor Moon, I want to say I liked this ending. There's some parts of this ending arc where I was just like, this is a lot of information to dump on us for characters that are just going to die easily, but everything else that we have that we're focusing on thematically, I really, really enjoyed. I don't think I needed Chibi Chibi added as a role. I understand her purpose eventually, but I don't really think she contributed much until then. And even then, it wasn't really much. So I was like, Chibi Chibi was some weird excuse to have another child character who just got to play like an occasional cutesy role of just repeating words people said. And as you said, Usagi seems to actually care about this child as opposed to her actual child.
Wait, we forgot the Amazons came back for like a couple seconds.
Yes,
that happened.
The Amazonesses came back.
They helped save the day.
We joked last time about like, why the fuck did they have to be sailors in the end? Whatever, fuck it. And now everybody's a sailor. So what do I know? Everybody's a sailor. You get to be a sailor. You get to be a sailor. Fuck it.
You know,
the dog gets to be a
for the
sailor.
amount of sailors we got, there hasn't been that much water.
Sailors.
I thought that they were gonna like once they started declaring everybody as sailors, I thought we were gonna bring Usagi's like 2 best friends who we haven't seen in ages and make them sailors for some reason.
Naru and Umi now.
Or
Speaking of characters we haven't seen in forever, what happened to Luna P?
You know.
I don't know. Luna P is in the future. Would Chibi Usa do Chibi Usa things, except when Chibi Usa shows up and then Luna P is still not there? I don't know what to tell you, okay? Luna P is gone. Never to be seen again. Luna P went into the merch factory. It didn't sell well, so Luna P didn't show up again.
I'm still a little sad this wasn't a slice of life volume.
For the final
True.
bit.
So good.
It was never gonna happen.
We know, but we can hope. I mean, cope.
I knew no such thing. I had legitimate hope.
The stars, okay? It's all about the
Well-
stars. Which, what was I going to say about stars? I was going to say something about stars, and now I lost it. Yeah, Chibi is an existence that did not really need to be there. Usagi seems to not hate Chibi though, because Chibi doesn't actually talk. So I guess that's a plus for Usagi. Also, it's just literally her, so I guess she just cares more about herself than her
Self-love is
daughter.
important.
Yeah.
Fucking-
Chibiusa eventually shows back up to try to help them save the day. And I don't know why though. I keep thinking it didn't seem like it helped. I think it like helped for like one instance, and then we just Usagi basically had to try to sacrifice. Yeah, Usagi essentially had to like sacrifice herself anyways in a way to do a thing, and then everybody died. It seemed like, or was reincarnated. I still can't tell. But yeah, Chibiusa was not like the main way everything was saved, because I didn't know if that's where it was going. I was like, oh, is Chibiusa gonna show up for the future, save the day, or is Chibiusa gonna show up all like grown up because time travel memes? I think Chibiusa looked like a little older this time, if I remembered right when she did show up. But
I don't fucking know me.
but I thought that it
Same to
was.
me.
But if they
I
look
think
so,
she just looks older when she transforms.
oh, you know what? That's probably it. Yeah, I think she had transformed at the time.
She goes from like elementary school looking to middle school looking.
Yeah.
Not much improvement.
I think I remember thinking like, did they like make her look older now so that they could differentiate her more from Chibi Chibi? And then I was like, well, that's not a thing we're worried about here, because they just the Naoko Takeuchi's just like, listen, I changed the bit of their hair buns. That's enough of a difference, right? I'm like, oh, okay,
Well, small is Usagi, therefore they are the same.
you know, I still in some
That is
panels
definitely one thing. The differentiation between the three of them definitely works better in the anime.
yeah.
Where you have, because they give
Color
Usagi is obviously blonde. They give Chibiusa pink hair.
Yep.
And Chibi Chibi I think gets like a darker red.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I don't know if I would be able to tell the difference unless they're in costume of Usagi versus Venus, though, at times. I mean, maybe it's hard for me to tell sometimes because of the manga, and sometimes I can tell them apart. Other times I'm just like, wait a minute, is that supposed to be Usagi, or is that supposed to be what?
Anytime they're like zoomed in on her face, it's a bit iffy for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if I hear her start gushing about idols, I'm like, oh, that's Venus. Okay,
That's Venus.
that's Venus.
That's
Usagi
how
doesn't
you
give a
know.
fuck about idols. She just cares about Mamoru and sleep. Okay, that's all she cares about. Not even her daughter.
I mean,
also
she's a
gaming.
body double. I guess it means she's doing her job, right?
That's true. Yeah. So Galaxia, Chibi Chibi, all the other new characters that we had show up, the Starlights. How did we feel about the new characters we had from this? Aside from, we've already talked about how they show up and they die instantly, a lot of them. But how do we feel about some of the like more core new characters? You know, the Galaxy, Chibi Chibi, and the Starlights. How do we feel about these characters more specifically, design wise? Any other things? If anybody has anything they want to bring up about their thoughts about them?
Chibi Chibi was just kind of a non-character up until the last bit,
Yep. And then she became Sailor Cosmos.
and her design was just Chibiusa. So,
And then when she was Sailor Cosmos, it was just I am Usagi, but like longer. I think it was just Usagi, but longer with like a different outfit.
Usagi.
And
I think I like Chibi Chibi and her like narrative function a little bit better in the anime because it is it's just straight up different. Like this is
you'd mentioned this arc
anime
is
and the
very
manga.
different. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Like for the first few arcs, things were generally the same. Like the anime expanded on stuff a lot and added like a little bit more characterization to certain characters, just because they had plenty of space to do that with. But this is the first instance where it's not unrecognizable, but it is a very different story.
Right. Would you say it's different in a good or bad way? Like, how does this arc compare in the anime?
Chibi Chibi specifically, I do think I like better in the anime. The anime's ending was
Happy, sad, confusing.
I mean, I just spent the last like 5 episodes of the anime crying the whole time,
Okay.
trying to watch. So it definitely hits different.
Okay. It do be hitting different. So what are the newer Sailor Moon movies supposed to be about? Are they just separate stories?
I believe all of that is to do with the difference between Sailor Moon, the anime, and Sailor Moon Crystal, which is essentially an attempt at animating the Sailor Moon manga more faithfully.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think we tried to make Kakyu, the like princess of that one galaxy, a more prominent character here. They played like no role other than exposition.
And then she died. Whoops.
I think at one point she said an attack of like royal flush straight or whatever, straight royal flush, and I was like, Bellatrix reference? Holy shit! And then she
Bellatrix reference, yo,
let's go. Yeah, what were you saying, Shadow?
Oh, there's a translator's note on the royal flush straight.
There's a fucking translator son on that, bro. We don't need. Okay, I understand,
brother. We played Bellatrix. We know. Okay, we're good.
Of course. Listen, we don't need. They gave us so many translators. I understand. The translator was really patting themselves on the back for the things that they understood about what was being said. Okay, I played poker too. Don't worry, I understand the poker reference. Yeah. So I mean, the translations have been the translations that we've been dealing with for a while. Again, we still had the same common themes of all of the bubbles just being combined if they're connected awkwardly and things like that. I think at one part, I think she goes to the cauldron and she's supposed to say, I hear the sound of water. And they wrote, I hear the wound of water. I'm like, what the fuck is the wound of water?
The wound.
The wound of water?
You never wounded water before?
Not recently, no. And yeah, I mean, that was a part of the dream sequence, and then she woke up.
The Wound of Water is that sequel to the Guillermo del Toro movie?
Oh, The Shape of Water, yeah.
Yeah.
They're standing up picking the Sailor Moon.
Let me read some chats here real quick. Baguetti in YouTube chat said, stolen valor from something ages ago. None of these people are in the Navy. Oh, that's probably true. Yeah, I don't think any of them are in the Navy. Yeah, that's true.
You don't know that?
There's been like no water. There's barely any water. What the hell? I've been lied to.
We don't know what they get up to in their daily life.
Baguetti also said Chibi should be seen and not heard. You know, that's
Wow.
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 It's kind of fucked up. Kind of fucked up and evil.
God forbid children do anything.
I don't think kids should be seen either. Just put them in a crate till they're 18.
In Twitch chat, we had Solar Pro Tag a while ago say garlic bread, and then the Wolfbow EO face, and that was in reference to the garlic bread video going into space, dropping down that I talked about before. Fuse Hunter said, it's wild how they introduced a whole new squad and they just got unmentioned at the end, and their princess pieces out after being missing for ages. Yeah, well,
as you do.
Again, the whole, I liked the Starlights as brief characters. I liked their designs. They didn't really get much development in themselves. They're just, I think the only main development we got was like the leader basically hitting on Usagi for a bit, and the whole time she's just like, wait a minute, but I'm dating Mamoru and he's in America. I keep getting, by the way, we haven't talked, Usagi just keeps getting these vague fucking cards that say they're from America and they're just tarot cards, and she's like, oh, this must be from Mamoru. Why does he keep sending me this shit? Like, bro, what are you, wait, Usagi.
Look, Mamoru was also a big fan of Electro.
They're just like tarot cards of like galaxies and shit. It's like, okay, well, that's whatever. And obviously that was like their squad that was just sending them vaguely, I guess. That was like the only development they had. I liked their character designs when they transformed, but they didn't really, I think there was that. And then at one point, one of the things that the sailors fought in like a dreamscape tried to be like, you know, Usagi, you can't trust these you can't trust a girl that dresses as a boy, and you know that means they're already lying. And
I'm like, feeding the propaganda.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Usagi.
For Nyanko trying to like basically do some weird convincing to Usagi in some like sequence or whatever. You shouldn't.
It's like with launch and fall for is the problem.
And I mean that the weird thing though is that like the way they were talking to Usagi, it would have fucking worked probably too, because every time we have a ally that just sort of vaguely does not reveal all the details, even though they've saved us multiple times. We just assume they might also be an enemy. And so the weird new transfer student who somehow already knows my name is obviously more trustworthy than them. Like, what do you mean? But yeah,
Common 9W. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah. Views Hunter in chat also says the Starlights get done dirty by being introduced in a final arc that's got a lot on its plate. Yeah, that's true. So they were naturally gonna be out of focus by the end, but not even a panel in the ending, unless I'm blind. I don't think I noticed them in the ending panel either. I don't think they were invited to the wedding. You know, I don't think they got invited.
Yeah, I didn't see
Well,
them at all.
Saya did have a thing for Usagi, so it was just kind of like an awkward.
It was
Propaganda worked.
they asked him not to be at the wedding. They were just like, listen, we're gonna ask if anybody objects, and the Starfighter was gonna object, so we couldn't invite her. So
Yeah, because Usagi and Mamoru have been incredibly exclusive throughout all of Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Listen,
Of course.
Mamoru has just been trying to go to college, briefly take care of a daughter, and then everybody in the world just wants to hit on him and end the world over him. He's just trying to be the housewife, okay? Leave him alone. He just wants to go to school, just wants to take care of his daughter. He just wants to be the house husband, whatever. And
this is the way the house husband.
Everybody wants to end the world to get with him, and yeah. It's a thing.
Except
and Usagi's over here crushing on every tomboy she sees.
That's true. Yep. And have it with what was their name? Haruka and now Starfighter. Yep. Happened.
Yep.
It's happened. And yeah. Listen, there was a segment too. I forget which character did it. Maybe it was Venus or whatever. One of the characters, or maybe it was Jupiter. One of the Sailor Guardians was like, listen, now it's our time in high school to get with boys. We had all the time in the world to get with all the boys. We could find us some boys. I'm
gonna say that was Venus. Yeah, I don't remember this, but this sounds very Venus.
It does.
It sounds Venus.
I think it was Venus, but then I also remembered her.
It's in the thing. It's in the thing.
I remember.
Minako.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So it was, and then I remembered her. Then just going. Yeah. No, I'm with Mars though. And I'm like, oh, all right. Well, good for you. Yeah. What else do we have here? I mean, we basically there wasn't too much other plot points than what we've already discussed, I don't think. I think we pretty much covered the plot points. Now, I guess it's just the time to discuss our thoughts on this final arc overall, and then our thoughts on the series in general. So,
there's one other meme thing I want to mention. Okay.
What's your meme thing? What do you got for us?
Okay, so how the fuck is Chibiusa still in middle school? Okay, last session we came up with the fail girl gene, which is pretty good.
Listen, she's still we just gotta roll with it, okay? Chibiusa can't be anything, but it's not Chibi.
No, I got you a better one, okay? And it proves that Usagi's the villain, alrighty? Okay. So what Usagi did is because people last longer, she extended how long school is.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like a real villain.
I don't think you're cooking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the question? Hasn't this only taken place over like 2 years?
I believe.
Why is she used to 900 but still in middle school?
Well,
math is hard.
Chibiusa is a whole thing where we also have time travel capabilities, but we keep acting like she can only travel back based on real time. It's a whole thing. Don't worry. We had the joke before. How can you be late? You have time travel. They find a way. Listen. Also,
how the hell do you change the past?
Also, because I guess we will briefly bring up the outer Sailor Guardians. Are they're obviously still a part of it. Hotaru is still a part of the squad. They are just like hanging out with Chibiusa at the beginning, I think. Briefly before Chibiusa goes home.
They don't last long.
They go to their
there's a bit where Chibiusa and Hotaru are holding hands.
Yes.
And Usagi's like, not on my fucking watch.
she was like, why do you guys hold hands? And I think Hotaru's like, don't you hold hands with Mamoru? She's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Don't remind me of how lonely I am right now.
Usagi's the villain.
She's
now.
like looking at like several other couples too as they're walking there, I think, and then they bring up about how Mamoru's going to America. We don't get to see the discussion of Mamoru saying I want to go to America. It's just all right. Well, I guess he's going. I guess he's going to America.
There is no discussion. He's going.
He's like, I've had it with all this bullshit, Usagi. Please, I am dying. The galaxy keeps almost dying because of me being near you.
I'm tired of being a single dad.
Let me have my college life for a bit, all right, and then we can get back to your shenanigans, please. And then plane crash. Don't worry about that. Well, here it's not plane crash. Here it's just abduction. But I kept thinking of Pluto, where it's like, oh yeah, we're finally we're gonna get to go on our Japan trip. Oh, we really wanted to go to the Japan trip. Literally at the airport, about to go on the Japan trip. Something happens. Not going on the Japan trip. Here.
Oh no, Adam's fucking dead.
I want to go to America. I can't wait to go to America. Please. All right, goodbye, Usagi. It's a very emotional thing. All right, abducted. All right, well.
Mamoru wanted to go to America and it immediately killed him. This is canonical.
But yeah, the outer sailor soldiers go to their
He would have been taken by the government anyways.
That's true. The outer sailor soldiers go to their like outer barrier castle things to like check on things there, and then they just die off screen. We didn't even get to see their battles. We just eventually just like, we haven't heard from them in a while. Let's try to contact them. Guys, all right, let's go there. Oh, they're not here. Oh, there's footage of them fucking dying. All right, well, I guess they're dead. We didn't even get to see.
Don't worry. In the anime, you can see them die.
Oh, damn.
Ah,
that's what I always wanted.
That's what she always wanted.
So, the thing I wanted to bring up though, Pluto. Okay, not Pluto the manga, Pluto the character that we have. Because I remember I just brought up Pluto earlier. Now, Pluto the character here. She appears to be both a character that is with us now and hanging out with us now, and also still watching the time space door thing. What?
She's like
See,
Mama,
Pluto
okay?
understands real time travel and can do that.
Oh, okay, all right. She actually understands how it works, so she can do it. Okay, all right. Well,
he graduated
Pluto died and then learned how time travel actually works, so she can do all this now.
Oh, all right.
Pluto is also the only one that acts like an actual adult and has a job.
Because I was thinking, like, oh, maybe it's just because the one that we're seeing is
Michiru does too, kind of.
Oh, all right. Because I was trying to think, like,
you mostly see Pluto do it.
I was trying to think, like, okay, because we had reincarnations happen, so this must just be a reincarnated one, and the one that we see in the time door was the one that was there before. No, that one fucking died, and the fact that we had the reincarnation was that whole thing. So I was like, I guess it's just a time travel thing. I don't know. We just need somebody watching the door. We didn't want to make a new character for the door, so it's just Pluto.
The time travel rules make no sense.
Yes. I try not to think too hard about that. Fewest 100 chat. Nia Serenity said that she had centuries worth of vacation hours. Good for her. Good for her. She deserves it.
How'd she get all the vacation hours?
Hard work, determination, hanging out with Chibiusa. It tends to help.
Chat.
Somebody has to watch. Somebody has to watch Chibiusa. Do you think it's gonna be her mom? Come on now. Yeah. What other details? I think that was pretty much it. Okay, so any other final meme bits before we get into closing thoughts about things? I think that was pretty much all the main details. So let's get into closing thoughts about the arc, and then we'll do closing thoughts about the series in general. So closing thoughts about this arc in particular, the Star arc, in comparison to other arcs or by itself. What are our thoughts? Aztec, what did you think?
This arc had a lot of questions for me because I was just like not understanding what was happening until like 5 pages later.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of sudden lore dumps for characters is a big complaint here, yeah.
It's like, oh, he disappeared? No, okay, he had died in that page back there. They reincarnated? When? Where?
Don't worry about it. They're here now. That's all you need to know. That's why I just keep thinking about a lot of this kind of stuff. I'm just like, listen, I don't know, I don't understand how the fuck we got this character here, but they're here and they're doing things. So you know what? Good for them. Fuck it. Fuck it.
Literally everybody in existence has a star seed in their soul, but only
Everybody.
like
Oh, yeah, we
special
forgot
people
about
can
that.
become sailors.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was going to be the main theme that we had about, because I heard the title of the stars being the theme title here for the arc, and then we had that concept of the star seeds. I didn't know if it was going to be a whole thing about like talent or whatever. Like everybody has the skill to do things, but only some people have the drive or the determination to actually continue on towards that for the future thing. I thought that might have been it. When
No,
they
some
kept bringing
people
up
are
the star
just
seeds,
born
but-
better than others.
Yeah, that seemed to be what we were implying, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's
Some people are just built different.
true. I was thinking that too. I was like, okay, only some people are special, but then it seemed like literally everybody was a sailor, so I don't know.
Look, chap, we have an entire galaxy, okay? And we have enough dice rolls to get enough results.
That's true. That's true. So how
Anyway, what was the question?
your general
the dice killing arc.
general thoughts about the star arc is pretty much it. So you gave us that point. Is there any other points you want to bring up about your thoughts about the arc? How it compares with the other arcs or something?
It definitely felt like it was faster paced than most of the other arcs. Like plot was actually continuously happening.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because we didn't stop.
Didn't have to
every
go
5
through the
minutes for
villain of the
news,
week
yeah.
song and dance.
Yeah. We had the
So that's
villain
a
get
good
introduced by
benefit.
name and then disappeared. So I was like, okay, all right, well, they're gone now.
Yeah, somebody shows up, does something weird, and everybody on screen gets vaporized at once. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure half the fights ended with Galaxia showing up and wasting both the sailors and her minions.
Yes.
Yep,
That's
pretty
what it
much.
felt like, at least.
Like her minions were just a distraction, so she could walk up
Yeah.
and execute people.
Galaxia is built different, okay? You just don't understand her vision for these things.
She
Sure
just walks in
does.
with a gun.
That would have been more effective and quicker.
Sell things
Like-
the American way. That's what Mamoru would have wanted.
I'm slightly appreciative the
Chibiusa
villain
would've
like
wanted.
finally just nutted up and did it, but
Anything else, Aztec?
nah, that's about it.
All right. Ari, what did you think of the Star arc, the final arc?
My initial thought, too many characters. Just way too many to throw in the final arc. I think that finales are a time that you should be wrapping things up.
Yeah.
The characters that you introduce should only be you should only introduce however many characters you need to wrap up the plot. And in this case, that would have just been Galaxia and maybe a couple of her minions. Everything else, all the other characters, I found pointless. I don't say that to be mean. It's just I have such a neutral, nothing opinion about them because that's just what they felt like to me. It's just pointless, but not in a derogatory way. Just kind of like you had no purpose here.
Yeah.
Less characters, more props.
Yeah. I just don't really have that strong an opinion on because I did not see a point for them to be there. Aside from that, I did also say like I wish Galaxia's design was the other one that she had previously because I thought that contrasting designs looked better aesthetically. What else? Yeah. All in all, though, it was all right, I guess. It still kind of fell back on some of the previous faults that I've voiced of the previous arcs, but I did like that it did at least go more in the direction of really forcing Usagi to focus in on herself and drawing from her own strengths, which is the strength of her friends. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Honestly, I think I do agree with your take about because it's a finale, we can reduce the number of villains by like a lot. I think in my head it would be like you only really need Chaos, Galaxia, and the Starlights as the new characters. I don't even think you need any of the
I don't
side
even
characters.
think you need them. I don't even think you need the Starlights.
Well, I think the way I would do it because I would want to include some new allies, but I don't need all of the other sailor things included. I just wanted like those three, and would only really be to showcase how they've been fighting Galaxia all across the different areas, because you need some kind of way for them to discover the issue at hand with this thing in a nice way. I feel like having them involved would be helpful, and I would have enjoyed to see them to like develop. If we're cutting out all the other things, we get to develop these three new characters as allies more so for us, the reader. But we didn't really get that here because, like you said, too many other characters to focus on, then we can focus on them. But we didn't really get actual development for them. So here they feel like non-characters that just also transform and like get to have their own designs and get to be a part of the squad, but like they don't really get any development at all. But I don't know. That would have been my thing. Those are pretty. Galaxia's henchmen, it didn't really matter. They just instantly yoink people anyways. So Galaxia could have just done that herself, I think. So I don't think we need
and
any
Galaxia
of her henchmen.
yoinks them too.
Yeah. So, like, we don't really need her henchmen other than to showcase to us that she, like, I guess the main thing is that she showcases she'll, like, take people and she'll destroy areas, and then some people she'll take them and basically conquer them and make them into like her minions to do her bidding, and with the bracelets or whatever. That's like the main thing that I got out of that, but I didn't really need her henchmen. They didn't really play any significant role themselves. They tried to a little bit with Lead Crow and Nyanko to make those two stand out more, but all the other ones were just whatever. I think they tried briefly to make Heavy Metal Papillon stand out more with the graveyard sequence, but
That was very funny.
I think we were just
That was
laughing at the
very
headstones.
funny.
I think I laughed when I saw
That was
like
incredibly funny.
I saw the headstones of the Starlights, and it just looked like it was just their heads, their heads just glued onto the tombstones. And I was just like, what the fuck
Like, I
is
was already
this?
laughing at that, but then like it shows their graves as well, and she's like, "Is that my grave?" It's just so
That's the
funny.
listen. That's the kind of shit I wanted to come up in the Dead Moon Circus arc. Okay, I wanted like freaky, like haunted. What the fuck did I just say? Haunted house designs or like something like that, like with like evil clowns coming out of it and shit. We didn't get any of that. But yeah. All right. Next up, Sailor Galaxy. Your thoughts on the Star arc?
I love Sailor Moon.
Based. Thank you.
No notes.
No notes. Yeah. How would you compare this with the other arcs?
We did the ranking earlier, so I would probably put it under the Infinity arc, but above Dead Moon Circus and the first arc.
Okay. Pretty cool. Any other thoughts you want to say about the Star arc?
Nothing that wouldn't just be me going on for like another hour, so
Oh,
Sorry, we
okay.
got time.
No, give us
Alright.
some of it at
Yeah,
least.
just something, anything.
Oh,
There's a
God.
gun to your head. You will say something about this arc.
Chibiusa, no.
Oh yeah, where's her gun? That would have stopped everything if somebody had a gun to Galaxia.
That's the power of America. That's why he went to Harvard to learn how to use a gun.
Sorry, they didn't have guns in the other star
What do you
systems.
think they learned at Harvard?
Sharpshooting.
It's in America, so therefore they.
No, yeah, they learned that at Harvard. I've seen the campus. Yeah.
I believe Harvard
the
does have a pirate course
unwritten
that involves
curriculum.
pistols, actually.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
Ruben.
What do you have to say for yourself? Galaxy. If that's even your real name, Galaxia. I think that's why
Shit, you got me.
you don't want to say
Yeah.
anything about the arc because you know you were defeated in the
Yeah,
end.
I just fully believe that Galaxia was right, actually.
Okay, okay.
And all of life in the universe should be eradicated.
You know what? This is a good point. I'm Team Galaxia now.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
You
thanks.
vote for me in the primary.
Oh, okay, all right. You got my vote. Next up, Sailor Shino. What'd you think?
So this is probably my favorite arc, actually. So maybe it's because Mamoru isn't present, but I think there are other good things about that too. Like, actually, like, although there, like, I definitely agree that there's kind of still the issue of the cast comes for like 2 pages and dies and stuff. I feel like the ones this arc were more memorable than the other ones, mostly because I guess like they're like enslaved to her, but a lot of them don't feel like they're entirely willing. So there was always like a bit of a feeling of like, oh, there's like some tragedy and lore behind this. Which I like definitely liked, and it made the characters stand out more than like henchman number 1 of the XYZ big bad who wants the rock or Mamoru.
Level
or-
404, or whatever that's supposed to mean.
Wait, so Shino likes Tragic Yuri? Who
What?
would have thought?
What?
I thought that was Doomed Yuri.
What?
Or that different thing.
You'll learn when you're older, Shadow.
Yeah, we'll tell you when you're older.
Every time.
Anything else?
No, this was a very Yuri friendly arc.
Based.
True.
Love to see it. Yeah, we're yay. Keep scrolling.
I don't know what you're talking about. That conversation between Ray and
Oh, that's true.
Minako was incredibly heterosexual.
Yeah, they were. They were just talking about Usagi. Yeah. They, just meant like we're here to protect the Moon Kingdom. That's all we love. We love the Moon Kingdom.
Yeah, they just really love their friends.
Or just like most of the other characters, they all love Mamoru. We all know this. They're willing
This is true.
They're willing to end the galaxy over it. All right, Shadow. What did you think about the Star arc?
I don't know. It's kind of mad to me. Like all these characters got introduced, and all I remember was Nyan, and 90% of that is just because their name was Nyan, which I find very funny.
Okay. I feel it's important to ask you the question if you know what Nyan Cat is.
I played Yokai Watch.
Okay, do you know the meme thing do you know why Nyan is named Nyan Bacon?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure you understand this is not a thing that Andy created.
I understand.
All right.
Don't worry.
I just want to make sure. I just want to double check this with you because sometimes you don't realize these things. I just want to make sure, all right? All right, but yeah. So you thought the arc was mid overall, though, right?
Yeah, it slots nicely in the middle of the arcs for
Okay.
me, at least.
What was your favorite arc again?
The first one, then third, now it's fifth, then second, fourth.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Any other comments you want to say about the arc before we wrap that up?
Make the characters more memorable.
That's true. We introduced a whole bunch of new characters. All of them died instantly, and even the ones that stuck around, we didn't really get to learn a lot about them.
And I was barely there, and I remember them.
Like it tried.
Well, if you have 200 episodes,
It tried to teach us more about Galaxia, more so than a lot of the other villains, which I kind of enjoyed. Still not a lot, but it was like a little bit more of a backstory for her immediately, where it's like I awoke to my powers at some point, wanted more power. Everyone around me is fucking trash.
Except for Mamoru. of course.
I wish to crush everything. And I will take everything in the galaxy. Also, Mamoru's here now. I'm gonna like make him like start kissing me and then kiss my foot, and then I'm gonna step on him, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Just Mamoru.
Oh, don't worry.
Mamoru just has this
Oh.
effect on everybody in the fucking story. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I think I pretty much already said most of my thoughts about this arc already. I'll just summarize it as just I think I loved this arc for its thematic focus, and I really enjoyed the ending sequences with the wedding shots and the final panels and the text that's on them. I think it was very impactful, and I enjoyed the fact that we did not waste too much time with all the new characters we introduced in terms of like trying to have them pretend to be a part of the society or whatever when obviously they're not. And the only thing was just that many of those characters didn't really have to be there. And that's the unfortunate thing. But that's what's going to happen when you decide to try to plug in the similar villain amount formula that you've been doing, but you put it towards 2 volumes instead of 3, I guess. Like makes it a little more complicated when you're doing that. So listen, a lot of ideas introduced, a lot of them cool. Some of them didn't actually have to be here. As fleshed out as they tried to make it, even though it's weird. We'll try to like introduce these new ideas and new areas and new like things with the lore of this world, but then not dive into it further enough to like explore that more. We mention it and then we move on. And I'm like, okay, and then that character's dead. So I think when the editors were telling Naoko Takeuchi, you can't go killing one of your characters in the story. And now we have Naoko Takeuchi going, you know what? I'm gonna kill all of the characters in my fucking story. We're done with this shit. Kill them all. I'm like, okay. Naoko, kill them all, Takeuchi. We understand. Overall, though, like I said, I think the thematic focus that we happened here for the fact that it is the final arc was what made me really enjoy this arc a lot more than the others. I don't know if I think I would still say the Infinity arc is still better for me, but this is probably a close second thematic-wise, so I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was a very powerful way to end the series. So, yeah. And again, all the action art shots were like amazing this arc. I thought. So yeah. So that's the thoughts for the Star arc. Now it's time for our closing thoughts about the series in general as we wrap up our discussions about all of Sailor Moon. So, how did we feel about Sailor Moon as a whole? What did we think? Aztec, what did you think?
Say roughly the same thing I said the first week we did this. I fully went into this expecting to want to drop it. It's a lot less villain of the weeky teenage girl stuff than I thought it would be. It seems like it's an actually decent story. It's still very much villain of the week, just like it's not the entire thing.
Right.
I enjoyed it. Don't regret my time.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I need to remember to do this because I think I forgot with the last series that we've done. Typically during this point, we also ask for a rating out of 10, I think.
7, I guess.
Give it a 7. Okay.
I don't think it was bad. It's just not like my wheelhouse sort of stuff.
Okay. Fair enough. Arimia. Sailor Moon thoughts. Closing thoughts. What did you think about the series as a whole and your rating?
Yeah, I would agree. I'd probably give it a 7. I have a lot of issues with it, but at the same time, the cast we have is so lovable that it's kind of like a parent scolding the child, but you're like, you gotta be lenient on, like, you can't get him too mad at him. Like, I liked it. There were just parts of it I didn't like. The structure I didn't like mostly, but at the same time, it's like this was a pioneer in a lot of ways. She was writing this when she was younger than I am right now,
Yep.
and have been making visual novels for a decade now, and I know that even my games from like 5 years ago aren't that great. So I can only imagine like the stress and pressure she was under, and to still come up with something so world renowned and characters so lovable, I think is a real feat. Yeah, I think eventually I do want to try out the anime. I think that has potential to be a better format for this, just because I was really tired of the 2-volume structure that these arcs were going under. And if anything, I actually wish the stakes were lower in most of these arcs, because I get really tired of the increasing stakes of like, oh well, I'm gonna destroy the world, I'm gonna destroy the universe, I'm gonna destroy this, like I had expected it to be more akin to superhero stories that we have, where it's like kind of man-made horrors. So not all of the villains, but quite a few of the villains are from like local areas or local problems, or just in your country rather than the galaxy. And I was kind of wishing for more of that, the kind of the lower scale but still like very intimate stories. But yeah, I still enjoyed our time with it. Usagi is just so cute. Terrible mother. Terrible mother, but she's so lovable. Like, she's got that cute little smile. You can't fault her.
Right.
Child Protection Services now.
Do they have that in the Moon Kingdom?
It's fine. Mamoru paid them off.
Oh, okay, all right. And you
He is
said
the villain.
And you said you gave it a 7 too, right? All right. Well, thank you so much for that. Galaxy, what'd you think?
Yeah, I fucking love Sailor Moon.
So I forget. Have you read the manga prior to this, or was this your first time reading the
no.
manga? Okay, so this is your first time reading the manga.
This is my first time reading the manga. I watched most of the anime over the course of like a good few years, and I finally finished it literally on like Tuesday.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just love Sailor Moon. That's all I got.
Who's your favorite character?
Oh,
There's a gun to your head. It's loaded.
Put that away, Chibius.
It's loaded.
Yeah, I think I gotta go with Makoto.
Makoto. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Sailor Jupiter. Very good character. I like her. She's nice.
I love all of them a lot, but
that's true. Did you give it a score? What would be your score for the manga specifically?
Oh, fucking 10 out of 10. I'm not gonna pretend.
10 out of 10 for the manga. Oh boy. All right. Well, thank you so much for that.
Listen, all of the criticisms that you all have leveled is perfectly valid, and that's
that's fair. That's fair.
Genuinely, I do not disagree. I just don't care.
This could have been a back of the cereal box comic. 10 out of 10.
100%.
Listen, I feel that way with several
I will not
series,
be objective.
So don't worry. I understand it. It's a personal, emotional fave for you. I get it. So thank you so much for that. Sailor Shino, final thoughts on Sailor Moon as a whole, and what would be your score?
I think I would also give it a 7 out of 10. Like, I felt like the lows were pretty low, but the highs were pretty high, and the art was very pretty. Probably like the fact that the final arc, like, I really enjoyed it. Like, it makes it leave like a good impression on me. But I feel like Mamoru's presence just makes the story worse on a whole, so he makes it so it's like the same tier as Rosamund. Sorry.
He's basically.
Is it purely because he dilutes the Yuri, or?
Yes.
I mean,
Well, congratulations. You and the creator of Revolutionary Girl Utna heavily agree.
based. Well, thank you so much for that, Chino. Shadow, what were your thoughts on the series as a whole, and what score would you give it?
I thought it was fine. I guess I will admit I did have some trouble getting through this because sometimes like, oh boy, here we go again.
Right, that's
I
fair.
don't know, like the only manga I have a trouble getting through was like Umineko, but that was just because it was actually just like really fucking long. And
Yeah.
no insult to the manga, great. It just damn we had to read a lot in a week.
Yeah. And what?
So I'm gonna give it a 0 out of 10. No clowns.
No clowns?
True.
I mean, it's true. There's no clowns. That's the clown rating. What's the actual rating?
That's the
Naoko
cover.
Takeuchi refused to draw any good clown.
No clowns. 0.
Okay, I know I said like that thing about how all of the criticisms were valid. Shadow, it's your turn. I am taking the gun.
What gun?
Chibiusa's.
Yeah.
And I'm refusing to let you do that to
All right, Shadow, what do you got? What's your actual rating?
No, I told you 0 out of 10. No clowns.
Okay, what's your actual fucking rating, motherfucker? All right, there's two guns pointed at you now, and they're saying you have to rate this not based on clowns.
It should be coward. You're an American. You can do it.
All right, fair enough. We'll.
That was
Alright.
the wrong button.
What were you trying to? Oh wait, are you a mod? Wait, were you trying to kick him? I don't even remember if you're modded here.
No, I was trying to open the soundboard.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, we have our first ever abstain from a rating here. Thank you so much for that, Shadow.
All right, it's like 6.5 out of 10.
I give it. This motherfucker. Okay.
It's too fucking
No,
late.
no,
You
no.
can't do that.
No,
now.
no. This motherfucker knows specifically that I hate people that give decimal ratings. So this motherfucker
Okay, fuck you.
Came
6
here.
out of 10. Alrighty.
came
Are you
here.
happy, Shep? Are you satisfied?
This motherfucker came here, said 6.5. He won't say 6. He won't say 7. This motherfucker. So you're saying 6? What are you doing?
Yes.
All right, so you're saying 6. He gives it a 6. That's fair.
All right. What if we say 3.5 out of 5?
I murder you.
Because that's just 7 out of 10.
I murder you where you stand. That's what I do. In a video game, in
Chibiusa's gun
Minecraft.
is getting a lot more work this week.
All right, thank you so much for that, Shadow. I would probably definitely agree with the point you said, where Sailor Moon is a series where I love the characters that we try to introduce. We don't seem to have a lot of time in many cases to actually explore more in depth some of them, but I at least get to enjoy a lot of them through the art visually, because again, a lot of the outfits and designs I think are very, very great, and a lot of our action shots are amazing. That said, you know, story-wise, we have a lot of interesting weirdnesses with what goes on with the plots, which we mention often with these talks. But just beyond that, it feels like a much heavier read than it actually is. Because like when we're reading Umineko, those are just long. We're reading like essentially 3 volumes a week for some of those. Here we're
Also gotta think.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of that too. But here it feels more difficult to read than Umineko in ways, because it's only 2 volumes, but they're very dense with like exposition drops of like entirely new concepts every time, which then just get destroyed immediately or dropped, or it's a whole thing. Like we're trying to do a lot with the not necessarily the villain of the week, but like a arc of the couple volumes deal where we understand the basic formula of how Naoko Takeuchi writes this stuff, and the slight differences that we do with the themes each time are basically what drives the differences between them. But it's a lot of exposition that's restating a lot of the same things, but I'm trying to remember them still, so I understand what I'm looking at and what the stakes are. and then also trying to remember the stuff so that we can talk about it more in depth here. But I end up just being like, maybe I should just look at the pictures instead. Maybe I should just look at the new characters and see the cool poses when they transform and stuff, and stop trying to read what Naoko Takeuchi's telling me is the lore behind this character for some of them. Which feels unfortunate.
I have a great idea for you.
Yeah, what's that?
There's this thing called art books.
Oh my god.
They're books, but they're fully made out of art.
Holy shit. I mean,
so like sometimes there's words in them, but like the vast majority is art.
No, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I have several of those. They're good.
Is this one of those, they're not dolls, they're action figures, they're not picture books, they're art books?
No, they're real art books, they're real.
I'm just like, like Shadow was saying, some of the reading here felt like a slog. And part of that is because of the awkward translation version we were reading. But another part of it is it's just a lot with each page that's like very dense with like a different concept. And it's rehashing the same thing, but still a repeat. But anyways, that aside, I love the ideas with the characters. I loved a lot of the themes we were trying to explore. It's just in some areas with these characters, could have used a little more cooking. So I think the main thing that would have helped a lot with Sailor Moon as a manga is if like we got more time to better spread out some of these arcs. Some of these arcs don't necessarily need to, because I mean the series again is a lot shorter than we expected to be going in. It's like 12 volumes long, and with the big influential nature of the series and how long the anime is, we just assumed it would be a lot longer to explore these things. And here, reading the original manga, it seems like it's just, we're given this time frame to tell a story, so we got to shove it all in there the way that we want the formula to work. And it worked for the time, but these days it just feels like a lot to try to do, and then we have a lot of issues doing that. So again, don't hate it. It's just writing wise, definitely could use improvement in some areas. Mostly, I don't know if I would say in terms of pacing, or maybe more so in terms of like the structure of the arcs. A little variety between them that's more apparent would be nicer. I think my favorite bits were the bits where we actually got a little more in depth with the current characters that we had already established, instead of introducing new characters which we now have to learn about. We have these characters that we've had since the beginning. We can take the time to explore them more and see what they're each up to. For most of these, it just focuses on Usagi, which Usagi and Mamoru and all that kind of stuff, I'm fine with that for the development of things. And I liked a lot of the themes we were trying to introduce, and I love the arts, and I like the ideas of some of the characters and the designs of some of the characters. Writing-wise, I think was its weaker side of things. But I still enjoyed my time, and I will still remember these arcs. I might not remember all the details of these arcs, but I'll remember the generality of the arcs, which I think is nice. So I'd probably also give this a 7 out of 10. And that's my review. I'm gonna stick to it. Okay. Sailor Moon. Any other thoughts, concerns, discussions, questions? Yeah, what do you got?
I will admit, if it wasn't for the book club, I probably wouldn't have been able to finish this.
I was honestly thinking the same at some point through it. I was like struggling to, like, it's not a series that I would drop. It's a series that I would take a lot longer to try to read. I would not be forcing myself to read the 2 volumes a week that we did if I was reading it on my own, because it, like I said, it felt like kind of a slog at times to read through all of it in like a couple sittings for the week or whatever. It always felt like maybe it's compared to like some of the other series we read. The other series we read, like Pluto, were like much faster reads and things like that. They actually felt like 2 volumes. This felt like 3 volumes or 4 volumes or whatever, with how much text it had with it. I remember we had the same feeling with Azumanga Daioh. Like, those are just 4 comma shorts. but because you have
for
to.
Azumanga Daioh, we have to understand the joke here.
Yeah.
We have to think.
Yeah, there's a lot of text in all the panels, and you have to understand the jokes, and you have to mentally reset whatever's going on to get yourself in the mindset for the joke or the scenario going on. It was a whole thing with that. So even though it's just a 4-comma series, and it should be easier to read it through and understand, it takes a lot longer, feels a lot longer in that kind of way. And in some way with Sailor Moon, I felt like that. So I don't think I would drop it if I was reading it alone, but I definitely would have taken a lot longer to finish it. And at some point, I probably would have said, you know what, why don't I just watch the anime instead and not finish the manga? And that's probably more likely what would have happened. So I'm glad that we had the book club to like push me to actually want to finish it. Yeah. So I would agree with that.
I think speaking kind of on that, watching the anime first definitely did a lot of kind of carrying me through that. In that it was a lot of, like, up until basically the last arc, it was a lot of, oh, I basically know all this already. So it was very easy to just read it, essentially.
Right. Yeah, because you basically know everything that happens, so it's easier for you to be like, okay, so that's who that character is, and I get to pick up on whatever lore I might not have remembered from the anime. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely helped. Like, this is probably one series, though, you know, now that you mention that and I think about it, where if I do ever decide to go back and reread the manga, I'll probably have a much more enjoyable time because I'm not trying to process all the new information all at once every week anymore. Now I'll have the basic understanding of what's going on, and I could just pick up on whatever details I might have forgotten about the last time, and not worry too much about learning about all the new concepts immediately. So this would probably be a series that I would enjoy a lot more on a second read. Not immediately at first, of course, but on a second read, I'll probably enjoy it more and appreciate it more. All right. Anybody else have any comments, questions, other discussions, topics, or whatever before we wrap this up?
It needed more Haruka.
This is true. It definitely did. I thought we were going to get more of it for this final arc, and then they just kind of died off screen. I was surprised by that. Oh yeah, I did also want to quickly mention, well, two things. First of all, keep in mind there is a spin-off series if you are ever interested in checking out Codename Sailor V, which was originally supposed to be the pilot version of this series and then eventually just became a side story spin-off that was happening at the same time as Sailor Moon. It's 3 volumes long, so if you are interested in checking those out, go ahead and do that. It should just be bonus meme stuff. From what I understand, a lot of it is just referencing whatever current arc was going on at the time of publication for Sailor Moon. But it started and then eventually ended at around the same time that Sailor Moon was going on. So it should be pretty much a series that you can consume alongside Sailor Moon. So that's its own thing. So maybe you will get an interesting experience with that. I'll probably check it out at some point just to see how different it is. I'm very interested to see how it is when it's focused on Sailor V at first. I don't know if it continues being only focused on her or what she does. I hope so, because it's codenamed Sailor V, but I know Usagi's in it, so I don't know. That series in concept might be exactly what I'm looking for, because it might be more so focused on our actual Sailor Guardians and their development, or at the very least on Sailor V. So I'm interested in that. Now the other thing was I want to mention as an aside, I don't understand. So, okay, the YouTube stats for the last episode are even bigger than the one in the previous episode, which I had noticed was more, like 5 times more views than our usual views for Sailor Moon. It got even bigger for the last volume, which has Sailor Saturn. Yeah, Sailor Saturn on the cover, Hotaru. How? Is it just everybody loves Saturn and and Neptune, I guess? Maybe, because the other ones have like 5 times less views. I was like, Jesus, what the fuck? I imagine this last episode will probably get, because usually the first and last episodes get the most views, but for comparison, the first episode is sitting at like 50 views, and the latest one with Hotaru on the cover has like 229 views, and I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? That's not how that usually works. So I'm interested to see how this final episode goes. If you're somebody who's watching this VOD on YouTube and has been watching those VODs, please let us know in the comments. I'd be very interested to see what attracted you to these videos. Was it Sailor Neptune that you saw and then you just checked out next week? Or if you're coming from that other video that I posted on the channel or something, I'm very interested to see what brought you guys here. So, and what your thoughts are on Sailor Moon, of course. If you have thoughts about Sailor Moon that you would like to share and express, please do so in the comments. Now that we're done with the series, you don't have to worry about spoilers for the manga, so you can just let us know whatever you want to know. And if I do see any comments, I will try to read them the next time we have a book club session. I do this typically, but we don't really get a lot of comments on our book club videos. We did for Umineko, but after Umineko, we didn't really. So that's, I just want to bring that up. Anyways, I think we are ready to wrap up with Sailor Moon. So we are done with the Sailor Guardians. We are done protecting the galaxy, universe, whatever have you. The Moon Kingdom. Everybody lived, well, I think we lived in some way. I don't know if we went to heaven.
They got married.
They did get married, so that's good for them.
In the afterlife.
Good for them. The Starlights don't get invited to the wedding, though. It's unfortunate.
I wonder how till death do us part applies to reincarnation.
I think they specifically worded it as until our duty is done here or something, and until our yeah, they worded it slightly different, I think. But yeah, it was a nice little wedding shot. I really enjoyed how it looked. So we made it through all of the Sailor Moon manga. I think there's technically a bonus meme chapter. It's not included in the place that we read it, though. I think there's supposed to be a bonus meme chapter somewhere. I think it was a part of like an anthology comic or something like that. It's in the internal edition of it, but we didn't read that. So if you are also interested in that, the Sailor Moon short stories, those are somewhere at your local video store, or the Eternal Moon edition. So go check that out if you are interested in those. And we are done with Sailor Moon. Thank you so much, everybody, for having participated in that. I hope you enjoyed your time. We will be starting the vote for the next series.
I have a question.
Yes, what's up?
Will we be playing the Sailor Moon fighting games? As a bonus meme.
Well,
Which one?
Well, okay, well, we gotta figure that part too.
There's several.
We're gonna play every single Sailor Moon video game ever made.
Oh my god.
That's not doable.
Maybe at some point.
All next Thursday.
Oh god. Maybe at some point I'll schedule a stream for it, but I don't think we would be doing one next Thursday. Okay. But
okay.
But I would be down to try out some of the Sailor Moon games at some point. I'd be down to try them out. They'd be interesting. Hold on, let me read some of these comments real quick that we got here. I think I might have missed them earlier. So we got hold on, we have okay, from Fuse Hunter earlier during some discussions. Starless got done dirty. We already read that. Yes, right. Okay. I enjoyed the concepts at play in lore drops, but having the conflict with Galactica undercut by another amorphous evil behind the big bad was a choice, I guess. But it's a Sailor Moon staple, so yeah,
Yeah.
The twist with Chibi Chibi was a little cute, but it was very disorienting to have another Usagi from the future. And then Solar Protag made fun of me saying haunted house. Listen, I can say words sometimes, not all time, but sometime. Fuse Hunter then said, Sailor Moon was way more enjoyable than expected. Naoko Takeuchi's pretty good at character work, and that's what pulled me through the most. There you go. And then Sailor Moon, I just said Sailor Moon. Solar Protag.
Sailor Moon in the comic?
I read words sometime, not all time. Not all time. Solar Protag said, now to read Detective Conan. So, yeah, obviously, we're going to read that next. We're going to read Detective Conan.
Only if you join us, Soul.
We're going to read all of Detective Conan. And then Solar said, oh, I'm a sailor now? Neat. Yeah, I mean, everybody's a sailor. I mean, I'm listed here as Tuxedo Borg, but as we all
Listen,
know,
I've been
it's-
here the whole time.
Yeah. Yep. That's true. That's true. So, we are wrapped up with that. We're going to be doing the votes for the next series. The way this process works, for those of you listening that are not used to how the system works, if you are a part of the Discord server at discord.wolfborg.com and you become a part of the book club group, you can throw in a suggestion for the next manga that you want us to read. It's either you can be a part of the discussion, live discussion if you want, or just to throw out ideas for what you want us to read or whatever. Ideas are welcome. But essentially, I'm going to be collecting everybody's suggestions for the next couple days, and then over the weekend I'll be starting a series of votes related to these suggestions, and whatever wins the first votes, or not whatever wins, the top selections in the general vote, which anybody can vote for however number they want from that, the top votes go into a second round, and then from there there's limited votes, and whatever wins that we go with. If there's a tie at that point, we'll do one more tiebreaker, and if that doesn't work, fuck democracy, I pick what we want. That's if it gets to that. It hasn't gotten to that yet, so we haven't had to deal with that kind of scenario yet. The general rules with suggesting a work is just it has to be, for now, because we're doing longer series, not short ones, it has to be at least 6 volumes, and it has to be a finished series. Can't be on hiatus, can't be whatever, it has to be done. So it's got to be a complete series, or it has to be a work that has a notable good stopping point for various reasons. Like Chainsaw Man, you could read up until like that first part's done, I would say.
Or
Like,
Rose and Maiden.
or, well, Rose and Maiden, that is its own listed title. So that one's like, it's not like, the sequel is also titled Rose and Maiden, but it's technically a sequel, even though it's the same title. It's weird. That's a weird case. It's not considered the same manga for reasons. But anyways, yes. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to be doing that process. So we're not going to be meeting next Thursday. Next Thursday, we have the week off. And over the weekend, we're going to be doing the votes. And at some point before Thursday, we'll have decided what we want our next series to be. And then we're going to begin reading that the week after. And I'll come up with the schedule and everything like that. So if you're somebody who is interested in that, either becoming a part, if you want to become part of the discussions or the book club groups and see the discussions either live or in the Discord, join the Discord, discord.wolfborg.com. Or if you want to watch these, we stream it every week on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick at 9 o'clock Eastern time on Thursdays. And if you, if you make sure you subscribe to these things, if you want to check these VODs out, the VODs typically live on YouTube, and that's the main platform where they live on. But yeah, we host on all 3 at the same time. So if you are interested in any of those, subscribe on those places, and then you can check this out live. Anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for all of that. Do we have anything else we want to say before I wrap this up and send the chat to some other channel? I agree. Well, I hope you all had a fun time. Let's see who we have to raid today. Oh, let's see. Let us see. You know what? Let's go say hi to Yusha. Yusha is streaming Final Fantasy 16. So we'll go say hi to Yusha over there. Well, bye, gamers. We'll see you guys next time in the next arc of Sailor Moon.
Doodles.
In the name of the moon,
Alright.
I'll punish you. Stay safe, gamers. Don't die.
Bye.
Bye.